Okay, good afternoon, folks. Hope everyone is well. My apologies about yesterday. Had some internet issues, apparently. It's not good, yeah. Apparently we got an email about it a couple of weeks ago. They were doing some updates on the line or something, so it would be sporadic. So I tried to come back and trade, and I couldn't really. So I just kind of watched the market and mobile, and just to find out what was happening. Had a little bit of chit chat in the Discord. So okay, so we got a leg and a leg. Now I got two schools of thought here. Hey Jan, how you doing, bud? Two schools of thought here. We've had a channel, we've already had a break and a new high, or there's something wider, in which case we got a correction. Now I can't trade for another minute anyway, but that is the type of correction I like. Karina, good morning to you. So we'll have to see. Leg and a leg. I don't know. There's two possibilities there. Obviously, that's the first and kind of the most obvious. But then there is a possibility of that as well. Daryl, how you doing, bud? Exponential, good day to you. We live in some crazy times. Interesting to see how the market will develop next. It certainly will, mate. It certainly will. In fact, I just watched it a little bit yesterday, and it was quite a bit. It was kind of working at this level, but it was more or less just up, down, up, down, up, down. A lot of chop, wasn't it, yesterday? All this kind of stuff was messy. But the last few days, kind of leading up to... okay, so that does look like maybe a wider channel there. So I'm just going to drag this out the way a minute. Kind of leading up to sort of Trump taking office. It's been a little bit up and down, I suppose. The markets, I don't know, what do you do? When you wait for something like that to happen, do investors tend to hold back or come out of longer term positions just to see how the market, reacts to things? Who knows? So that does look like possibly a channel with a correction and a strong push up above the market. Let's see what happens here. I don't think there's any type of a downtrend there. It's possible, but it depends where you like that. So let me just kind of put that back. In those kind of circumstances, you would think it could come down. So let me just check all my... orders open.
Order submitted.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Excellent.
Order canceled.
So, touch. Kind of looks like it may fit as a downtrend, but it's really a bit early to kind of make a judgment. Let's put that there just in case. So, two legs back and a push up. Yeah, my apologies about yesterday. Apparently, we had an email 2 weeks ago saying they were doing some upgrades on the line, and the line may go on and off from time to time. So hopefully no one took any trades here. There wasn't anything on both my charts really, so... but it looks to me like this is coming down to test these. So maybe we have had at that break. So I'm going to leave it like that just for the time being. So channel up. We've kind of had two legs actually, a couple of legs back and a couple of pushes up to a new high. So it's hard to know here, but my guess is this is going to come down and break these lows. So we have got all-time highs staring at us from up here, so we're not a million miles away. We're about 70, 180, so we're about 70 points away, 67 points. So we have climbed quite a bit over the last few days. So I still wouldn't go long here at the moment because we have pushed down. We may get another test and then drop again. So it's risky at the moment. And not only that, my guess is it's going to come down and break these lows and test that. So if anybody got trapped there, in fact, that wouldn't be a bad place to go short there.
Order submitted.
I don't really want to...
Order filled.
Did I get a tick? Okay, it's a bit too close to those lows, to be honest with you. If it is a range, well, did I get a tick? Oh, well, tick's a tick, I suppose. I like this setup. It's probably going to come down and break the lows, but if it is range in there, so I'm not even going to put a mark on that. If it is ranging, it wasn't a huge risk. So 2.5 points, but we are maybe bouncing here, so it might be a bit risky, that is. Trouble is, you've got to make fast decisions with something like that. So channel with a break, 2 pushes down. I'm pretty sure it'll break below there. The trouble is, there's not a lot of space there. That ATR's a lot lower than it usually is, so it can throw you a bit. So when I jumped in and my order was down here, I thought something's not right there, which is kind of why I stressed. But look at that. There's a 1.25 to the lows. So I think I did the right thing and get out of it there. Eval on the back. I hear something. Eval on the back. Hey Andy, how you doing? We had some internet problems, bud. Apparently we'd had an email or a letter or something a couple of weeks ago, so they were doing some upgrades on the line. So as I started, it died, and I thought something might have gone wrong with my OBS. So I reset a couple of stuff, and it still wasn't working. Then I noticed I had a red dot and things weren't moving. So yeah, so my apologies. And it came on and went off and came on and went off, and it was off for an hour, then it was on for a few hours, and it finally sorted itself last night. So yeah, I mean, I took that, call it a lower high. It's actually a second entry short. It's in the right place, but there isn't much. I thought there'd be 3 points to the lows, but that ATR's small today. It's been around about 3 to 4. So I thought we'd have at least a couple of points to the lows. There was a 1.25. So I'm glad I got out there. It's a tick. It's $85 over me 5 accounts, so it's better than a kick in the teeth. So it may work, but it is building up some support there. So I think it was a good decision to get out every tick. Yeah, it does. Trouble is, if something doesn't feel right, when I jumped in there, I didn't pay much attention to the ATR for some reason. I've been away doing a little bit of woodwork, and I go for 3 points. And when my profit stuck down there, I thought, no, I don't like that. So I got out there. I thought something might be wrong. I was looking at my settings and all that. It's just that the ATR was low. I mean, that looks like a massive move to make. It may work, but I think the safe bet is to get out, especially when you're bouncing here. And if I didn't get out there when that came down, I would have got out. So something just didn't seem right there. And the trouble is with trading these fast markets, you don't have a lot of time to think. So you have to kind of act impulsively. And that can lead to making mistakes. So does that look a bit better? Yeah, you can make mistakes there. So I don't kind of like jumping in randomly. Well, I say randomly, it looked like a setup. I thought a leg, another leg down, but I thought there was enough move. But you've kind of got to jump in and make quick decisions, and sometimes they're the wrong one. But I still have mine set, all my accounts now, 1 loss, and that's it for the day. I can either move on to a sim or pick another eval up. But It's stacking up now anyway, so who knows where the hell it's going to go. But, you know, it does look like there's some support there. So there's always that possibility that we're ranging. So when we were down here, I just thought, oh, we're at the bottoms. We could be ranging, so just get out. So I'm glad I did, really, because I'll be surprised now if that doesn't break above there. Now, there is a second entry short here. I don't know, it's stacking up. It's too dangerous. I notice my patience lately is just not patience. My discipline is just dropped a little bit. It's quite hard to get your patience and discipline working 9.5 out of 10 every single day. It is a bit, yeah. I mean, that is a big bearish bar. I think that's the thing that's going to drop it if it does go below here. But yeah, it's very, very hard to keep that level of patience and discipline 100% of the time. And it's very easy to slip and not really realise you're doing it. Yeah, it does look a bit piano key. Shall I change it from black to white? I think it's probably going to work. We have made, you could call that a triple test anyway. It's probably going to work. There's going to be some stops here, so it may come down, but it is stacking up and it is finding support. So I think the best option for me, I wouldn't have got stopped out as yet, but when it starts to go like that, I mean, really, if you're in a trade and it does start to go like that, unless you've got a wonderful position, I think that's the time to start thinking about getting out, ideally without a loss. Yeah, it just looked like 3 points, but because of ATI, it's unusually low. It's not been this low for a long time. Market's been really choppy and it's been floating around the 3.5 to 4 in some cases, maybe certainly 3.5 comfortably. Yeah, so Dan has just popped that chart up, so he's kind of looking. He's got that as a break, but he did have two. He did have two there, so he had that initial one plus a possible second one. So it's a good reason to get out, really, when it starts to go like that. Chad, if you widen the downtrend, it's holding. Yeah, I did have a look at it. I thought what I would do is if it breaks below here, then I may do it. I did move it over. The only trouble is it's not getting down to the bottom of what I think is a channel. So I think at the moment it's more, I'm thinking more rangy at the moment, which is why I looked at it and then just put it back. Until I'm sure what I'm looking at, I just tend to leave what I've already got. Yeah, see, Marco's saying a higher low here. So if there is a downtrend, going higher wouldn't be the... But we are finding a lot of support here, and it's kind of a leg and a leg, isn't it? So, I don't know. A higher low for me here is... well, yeah, he has put a bit congested now, so... Yeah, we are finding support here, but also we're struggling to get up, so it's going to shoot up either way. It could push up there and take out stops here, could push down and maybe take out some along here. Marco has a lot of confidence in range plays. Yeah, see, that's the thing. Everybody has got their sort of slightly different skill set. Certain people are better at certain things. I'm not very good at picking tops and bottoms. I don't like trading ranges unless there's a decent size range and it is bouncing. And I think trading ranges when it's bouncing at different places, that's why, in fact, Marco's actually got in. He's took that one there. Trading ranges, it's not something I've done a lot of because I've always avoided a lot of them. So we are finding support there. There is a triple test there. So where's he? He's already out. He's got 5 ticks. There is a possible higher low there, but you don't know whether it's going to trigger you. There's going to be stops above here, so don't know. Nothing looks strong down here to push up. 5 ticks risk for Marco. What did he? Let's have a look. 11.5 and 13. Yeah, 0.5. So, you know, you have got to weigh at the risk as well. If it's a small risk, then, you know, sometimes it can be worth doing, but it's a little bit choppy for me. I mean, for instance, is it Chad? Chad's sort of looking at that, and I looked at it, but it's more rangy. So if I'd have been looking at that, then there's a possibility I may have gone short there and it triggered you and stopped you out. So if it's not filling that full channel, for me, I'd rather just sort of sit on the sidelines. So, I mean, that might not even be a channel itself. In fact, it isn't really. It's just a correction. But my guess is, depending on what we're looking there, with that correction, and often you see those corrections, as we know, and they work really well. And funnily enough, nothing's broken below there. So, and often that is well, like Max says, the middle of the move. So it could still push up. See how far it gets down here. I wouldn't be surprised if it triggered this short and started moving up. There we go. Now I think that'll move up now. That would be a failure. There's stops here. We've had that correction and multiple bounces. So my guess is that's going to push up above there. You might say, well, why don't you take the failure then? But the trouble is, it is going like that. But 2 legs down, once, twice, a couple of retests of the lows, and then a move up for the new highs. That's what my gut is telling me will likely happen. But when it is like this, you know, everything's more risky. I tell you, it's my gut telling me that, but because it's so choppy, it's still risky taking it. That's what I think will happen, but I'm not confident enough to trade it. You know, we all have our kind of educated guesses, don't we, based on what we're seeing. But I wouldn't have gone short there because we've had this, depending on how you look at it, it is a correction. And usually after that correction, a lot of the time it does take that scenic route, which for me is up. Let's see if anybody takes this. Yeah, I don't think that's a terrible trade. I think it'll work, but because it is still choppy, I don't want to take it. It actually is a failure. You have trapped the shorts there, but it is still choppy. I think it'll work, but yeah, absolutely. It's too congested. You know, I can tell you what I think will happen based on what I'm seeing, but I'm not confident. It didn't trigger anyway, but I still think it'll push up. We got a leg, a little bit of sideways and a leg. So my guess is we'll attack these highs. It's very tempting to go long, but it's into highs, so you never know when it might have one more go. But the fact is we've come down and we've struggled to get down here, so I think that's going to push straight up there, take out, stop there, stop there, stop there. So that one will go in a second, I think. Did that break above there? It didn't, did it? Now, you could call that 2 legs up in a bearish bar. I wouldn't go short just because of this correction and a bunch of touches and the fact that we didn't come back far there. So I think this is going to go up. So that's that taken out. That'll be next, I think. And then that one there. I mean, that's a failure there, isn't it? So there's going to be people trading short there, trying to pick a top. So there'll be stops there and there. There we go, that's that one gone. That'll be next. Whether it'll come back a bit first. Yeah, although it's 2 legs up, I wouldn't be going short here. But I would like to see that bar trigger. Yeah, that's targeting this area, surely. Yeah. It's not good enough of a failed breakout to me, especially... See, what does it for me is that correction. Those 2 sideways, often it takes the scenic route before it pushes up. So I think it'll trigger either one of those bars and then push higher above there. You have a tighter uptrend with 2 pushes up so far. That there. Yeah, just with seeing this, seeing how it's picked off these areas here, that's going to go up for me. So I'm going to put that like that, because that's what I'm thinking now. Big strong move up, a nice correction, tested it multiple times, push up, clear the highs. So that's triggered now. So that one will go, and then eventually that one. Yeah, see, sometimes you get used to seeing certain things. I mean, there's no guarantee it could come down for another go, but you get used to seeing certain signs that something's doing something. But you never know if you know, people are picking these highs and they want this thing to go lower, the seller's going to win over. But my gut feeling is with the 2 legs back at correction and the scenic route, which it often does, eventually moves up. But because of this range, unfortunately, even if I got a second entry long, I couldn't go long here because it still would be going long into support. Have you ever used Take Profit Trader as a prop firm? Yeah, I've had about 2. So that's taken that out. That's the next obvious ones. The obvious one. I've had 2. In fact, I've had 2 with them. But I am tempted to take another one because they've just changed their daily loss. Well, they've removed it. They used to have a daily loss of, I think, about $1,200. And if you hit that daily loss, you actually blew the account. They've just got rid of it. So I am thinking about taking another one. But I probably will actually in the coming week. So what's going to go next? Oh, we're above it now anyway. So you can see what's going on, can't you? You kind of get used to seeing the signs. The correction was the first sign for me. The fact that we never broke below it, we had multiple. The fact that we pushed up, didn't quite get to the high, came back a little bit, triggered some shorts, and pushed up again. But unfortunately, without a decent signal bar in a certain area, I can't just jump in. I've still got to have a plan to get in. So Is this thing now going to come down, or are we going to end up getting something like that? Take profit is one of the best no rules in pro accounts. And 24 hours. Yeah, in fact, I was watching something last night. It says you can get paid on day one. I don't quite know how that works. Can anybody explain that? Paid on day one. I do actually. Let's see if I can find it. You know, I should put it on my thing, really, shouldn't I? But, give me a second. Wait, just 1 second. Give me a second. Nothing I can do up here anyway at the moment. It's emailing me. No, I can't find it at the moment. Let me just ask, what's it? There we go. I've just asked the question, see if they go back to me. Connect you want the team. I'll let you know in a second, hopefully. Let me connect you with one of the profit team agents. You can submit your question while waiting for the agents. Nothing I can do up here anyway. Just a couple of questions there. The safety net next day, 1,000 you can withdraw on the rules. So do the safety net, and next day if you make 1,000. Okay, so buffer is 2. So you've got to make like $2,000 on your first day, and then whatever you make on the second you can withdraw. Ditch Rhythmic, yeah, it's through what's it, isn't it? Through a trade of 8. Okay, give me a few minutes. Hopefully they'll get back to me. Here we go. Oh, there's a lady called Karina. My name is Karina. I'm here to help. One moment, please. Wow, there's quite a few Karinas out there. She doesn't look as pretty as you, Karina. Karina. Let's have a look. Track your referrals. Okay, yeah, it's UKFT. King Capitals. UKFT, so... T. There you go. That's it. Anyone wants to use it. I might get on my screen. It doesn't cost you anything extra, does it? But yeah, anyway, I had, I think, 2. The last one I had was maybe a couple of 3 months ago. I've had a few My Funded Futures, but they had that daily loss limit, didn't they? So I think if you hit, I think it was $1,200, which is your daily loss, it used to close your account. It would blow your account. Which is it's a bit lame, isn't it? Yes, you can. Yeah, when you sign up, it'll give you 2 options. In fact, can I do it? Let me show you. So if I create new 50. Click next. Yeah. So if you go into it, this comes up. So if you're using TradeAvay or TradeView, just make sure not this one. You'll end up Rhythmic. Make sure that is selected. It's pretty self-explanatory, but I did it once by accident, and it's a pain. But the good thing is, with Rhythmic, you can trade them at the same time. So, what is going on here? Apex is currently only 50%. Well, there is a little twist there, which I don't think many people know about. If you've got an old Apex account, you can reset it for $35. Which is basically 80% off, and the PA fee is $85 at the moment. I know because I paid a couple over the last couple of days. So if you've got an old account, just reset it. Now, bearing in mind, when you started that old account, you get 1 month on it. So if you've had it 2 weeks, if you reset it, it'll charge you again in 2 weeks. So just keep that in mind. I trade mine quite aggressively. Some people may stupidly, but, I like to try and pass mine in a day or a couple of days or a few days. You did that today. Yeah. Which is $35. So you can still pass it in 1 day. I don't suggest that's the best way to do it, but obviously, it depends on you guys. But yeah, when you come to PA, it's $85. So it's actually not too bad at the moment. So resetting it takes it down to 80%, and it is still $85. So it's not a bad deal at the moment. But yeah, it's unusual for Apex not to have some kind of obvious. I don't think they've gone this long. We had one around about New Year, didn't we? But we haven't had one for, it's gonna have been 2.5, 3 weeks nearly, which is unusual. It's quite strange. I mean, they make a ton of money, but the trouble is, I certainly wouldn't pay 50% off. Not a chance. I wouldn't suggest you guys do the same. If you need one, then you might not have a choice. But I'd say my favourite at the moment is, well, the one I use the most is Apex, mainly because one, I've used them for the last 2 years. Two, I make money off an affiliate. It's not a huge amount, but I make enough to give me a part-time wage out of it. Closely followed by, I would say, My Funded Futures. In fact, now they've dropped the issue I have with, it's not an issue actually. It's more of an opinion. So if you get an account with My Funded Futures, it's $97. I believe you can get 5% off if you use my code and pay. I think it's with ACH. I'm not sure because I'm not from the US. So let's say $90 for argument's sake. Now that is for the evaluation, and if you pass it, you move to a PA for no extra fees. So it sounds good. If you fail the evaluation has cost you $90, and that makes it a bit pricey. And that's the same with Take Profit Trader. Whereas if you've got an offer or you use the reset, it costs you $35. Yes, you've got to pay $85, so it works out at maybe $10 or $15 more. But if you blow the eval, it's only cost you $35. Whereas if you blow it with Take Profit Trader or My Funded Futures, it costs you $95 or $90. So it's kind of swings and roundabouts, isn't it? Some good points there and some bad points there. But that's kind of why I'm with Apex at the moment, because of the price. Now, if Apex didn't do another sale again and I couldn't get a reset, then I would consider adding some My Funded Futures or Take Profit. I use them because they're cheap. And so far, if I follow the rules, I've been paid. There was a time where I took a risk and I went over that 750, and I kind of knew it was going to deny me, and it did. But then for the next 8 days, I played the rules, and they paid me $6,000. So, I know there's a lot of stuff going on about Apex at the moment. But what I know about Apex is I know they make a ton of money. Now, a company that makes a ton of money is going to be around for a while. Now, I know they've got a couple of lawsuits out there from various things. That doesn't concern me so much. They're making a ton of money. There was some discrepancy with a guy that used to work for him. He owned the software. So, it's more of a civil case, that. And I know there was that stuff out about, who's the guy, not Daryl Martin, the other guy, Karina's favourite guy. I know there was an issue with him saying things he shouldn't have said. But the way I see it is companies are out to make money. They constantly have meetings and get-togethers thinking of saving money, thinking of ways of saving money. But those meetings and comments usually end up behind closed doors. But unfortunately, someone recorded him and it didn't come over well. It didn't super concern me. But, I'm okay with them at the moment. Mr. Skelton, isn't it, Karina? Mr. Skelton, yeah, Mark Skelton. Or Mark Skellington, as I've heard someone describe him. I actually prefer Daryl Martin than Mark Skelton, to be honest with you. Daryl Martin seemed a little bit more down to earth, kind of what you see is what you get. But I don't know, doesn't he play as much of a role lately, does he? It used to be all Daryl Martin, now it's Mark Skelton a little bit more. So I don't know. I'm not concerned anyway. As I say, I have 5 accounts with them. So I know you could say I'm biased. I make some money on affiliates. I don't make a huge amount. This month, I think my affiliates are around about $400. It's not a huge amount. But if I didn't like Apex, I could continue to use their code, but I would then start to use other prop firms, which I don't at the moment. So if I bring my Watson in, you can see these are the only accounts I've got. I've got no others. I've got no others down there. I did have a My Funded Futures, you can see, but I've got no others. So I don't use them because I'm an affiliate. You can be an affiliate anyway. But yeah, I mean, I use them because they're a good price. They're Apex Trade Copy of Screwed Me. Yeah, that I wouldn't recommend. I had the original one, and I had problems with it from day one, so I stopped using it. And I know they updated it, but by that time I'd been using Replicanto for maybe 6 or 8 months, maybe even a bit more. And in all fairness, I've had no issues with it. It's the one bit of software that I've used I've had no issues with. Yeah, there is some in there, yeah. You can have a look if you like. So there's just over 2,000 in those two. There's just over 1,000 in those two. That's a sim. I was just trying something earlier. And this is a new one. So, yeah, there's money in them. These two I've had payments out of twice, I think. 2,000. I think I've had 2,000 out of one of them twice, and 2,000 and something like 590 before Christmas out of another one. So, definitely avoid Apex. Yeah, absolutely. And what I'll say is, when I first bought it and was asking about it, people said it was a cut down version of Replicanto's. But what I will say is Replicanto are a software firm. They specialize in that. And you get updates. I've done an update now for, let me think, probably about 3 or 4 weeks. Sometimes I've had 2 updates in 1 week, but, if there's any issues, I like Replicanto. I love Replicanto and I love Guardian Angel Trader. If anybody hasn't got Guardian Angel Trader and you're blowing accounts, trust me, get it. I can't get into it at the moment, so mine's locked out. So I'll show you. So if I shouldn't be able to get into it. So if I go into new and go into Guardian Angel Trader, it won't let me. If I open an account, it won't let me. It's locked me out. I can only get in between 1:30. Sorry, it's locked between 1:30 and midnight, or 1 minute before midnight, and then midnight to 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So I can only get into this and adjust things 30 minutes. Flowbots is replying to support messages straight also. Is it really? Yeah. To be fair, I don't ever think I've actually messaged Flowbots. I've messaged Guardian Angel Trader once and they got back to me because I kind of found a loophole, but they'd already looked into it apparently. The loophole was that I could open I can do it now. I could open the SIM account. I don't know, I can now. So the SIM. No, it won't let me open the SIM because you can open the SIM account, change the settings, and add the settings to these accounts and reopen it so you can revenge trade, but you can't now. If I lose one trade now, I can't do nothing. It won't let me trade. It'll automatically lock me out. So that's a setting I can add to Guardian Angel Trader. I can also set a stop loss lock. So let's say, here's my entry, or let's say there's my stop. I can move it forward towards profit, but not away. It locks it. So there's so many features with Guardian Angel Trader, but it's about $399. There's no affiliates, no links, no discounts. It's as it is, but I absolutely recommend it. Flights were very helpful. Sent them logs, and they said it was something to do with me entering on a limit and recommended use follow. Yeah. No, I've been using Replicanto now, I'd say for, crikey, at least a year and a half. And I've had no issues with it. And in all fairness, we used to get loads of problems with Rhythmic. In fact, I don't know if you remember, I think most of you guys have been around a while, sort of it was the middle of last year, wasn't it? It was an absolute pain in the arse. Every day there was issues with Rhythmic and they were resetting accounts. And trading's stressful enough as it is without your software going wrong. But I can say, hand on heart, I can absolutely say Replicator is one bit of software I've just never had a headache with. So, let me just take a snapshot of this at the moment. Just want to see if anybody else has got something like this. Copy image. So whether we're going to extend this or not, I don't know. But yeah, you know, what I suggest as well is make sure you have these two boxes, your orders and positions. So if you've ever got an order open, you'll see a red cross there, so you can shut it down individually, because on the rare occasion stuff doesn't close. Also, have your positions tab and your orders tab as well, just to show you if there's anything left. Occasionally, it'll show an account left in a position here, but as long as your money isn't changing, there's no crosses here, just reset NinjaTrader. Just it does that for some reason. I think it's down to NinjaTrader, but if it does that, just go into your connections, disconnect and reconnect, and it'll kill it. But the most important thing is Rhythmic, making sure your balances or your P&L isn't going up or down when the trades close, and make sure, as long as these are all grayed out, all the trades are shut, it doesn't matter what NinjaTrader is saying. Is some kind of bigger channel in play? Not exactly sure. So push up, correction, and up again. Watch out for those. Often if you get a nice bullish bar, it really works well, that does, with a flatten. It doesn't, mate. I've tried it. So what you'll find sometimes is orders, if you right click it and click cancel all, it doesn't do it. It doesn't do it. But it's something it does for some reason. But as long as all this is grayed out when your trade is closed, there's no live trades. And in that case, it does it most of the time, to be fair. I know it's odd. As soon as it happens, though, just to reset it, because you don't want it sat there, although it's not doing anything. I just click connections, just disconnect and reconnect, and you're back off and running. But yeah, and in fact, next time it does it, I'll show you. I'll drag it in and show you. But yeah, keep on top of this stuff. You rarely have to use it, but it's always good. You know, if ever a trade closes, I always make sure they're all grey. It's a bit, I don't even have to think about it now. Just make sure they're all greyed out and there's no red cross. Occasionally, as I'll say, it'll either be in the orders or positions tabs that I got there. It'll still show there's a trade there, but all these will be greyed out. So, and you won't see your profit in that going up and down. So don't worry about that. So I don't know. Maybe there's something larger. I'm not sure. But in fact, I've even had Flowbots contact me and saying there is an issue with NinjaTrader that they're aware of. So even they know something's not working with NinjaTrader sometimes. So I'm not sure what's going on at the moment. I'm not thinking about a long there for a start. It's right up into the highs. It's too far from the EMA. You don't know whether this, sometimes you get an overshoot, it'll come back, push up, make a new low and then turn. I'm not 100% sure this is right. You know, it may end up being more something like that. In fact, I probably like that a little better actually. Or maybe there, no. Let's put it there. You'd think the natural place would be there. Maybe it is. You're welcome, buddy. I'm just going to put it there. Because as we've pushed up, we've had two legs back, and usually that's where it'll bounce. So I'm going to put that back and just... I'm going to leave that there for now and just see what happens here. It's not when you close, NinjaTrader shows it's open, and if you flatten Replicanto, it will reverse the trade. Yeah, don't touch anything on Replicanto. It'll be shut anyway. Just all you got to do is, the important thing is, from Apex point of view, is there's no live orders showing in your positions tab. But this is my rhythmic. This little square here is rhythmic, as you can see there. As long as everything's grayed out, there's no live trades open. So all you got to do is, if you see something either in either one of these, even right clicking or cancelling doesn't. Yeah, it's this one that they sit orders. It doesn't get rid of it. All I do is go into NinjaTrader, into connections, select connections, just disconnect it and then reconnect it, and it'll get rid of it. So always have those. Always have those. I always have those. They're out of sight at the moment because, you know, no one needs to look at them. It's that one, isn't it? Yeah, so just have those. I just have them to the side so I can see them. So orders and positions in NinjaTrader and orders and positions in Rhythmic. So this may be an overshoot, and you see it now and again. It'll pull back, push up, make a new high and reverse. So whether it'll do that or not, I don't know. Whether it's an overshoot, I don't know. I'm just avoiding any long here just at the moment. Yeah, Dan's put that as well a few minutes ago. I posted mine and he's put it as well. So he's kind of looking at the same thing. That was mine. He's done it. So he's done it from there, which I think is where mine goes from, doesn't it? Yeah, it was those two legs back. So if he's looking at the same, that gives me a little bit of a peace of mind. So you have to pay attention to that. Now that might work. There might be a different channel, but on this big channel I've got drawn there, which fits quite nice, that's an overshoot. So I always avoid that next second entry long. Sometimes it'll trigger you and then pull back. You know, after an overshoot, we can get a bigger correction. It can reverse. But if I think there might be one, I assume there is, and just avoid any type of, or I'm avoiding any type of long trade here. I don't think there's any other type of channel that I like. See, Dan's got that. whatever, whether it is or not, we've had a break from it anyway, so I just had it there initially. But it's irrelevant now anyway, it's out the picture. So if this long's triggered, it would be a failed second entry long. Having said that, I don't want to go short here because the trend is still up at the moment. Balance channel, start further down, just for your information. Let's have a look. You might be right, actually. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Okay, so, yeah, it does, you're right. It's about down here, isn't it? He's got it there. Does it incorporate that? Yeah, it does. Yeah. Upper swing. Let's have a look. So he's got, okay, yeah. So he's got that about there then, yeah. Yeah, okay. It's just this bit, but it does go sideways till it meets support, doesn't it? So, yeah, it's hard to say really. So, effectively that should work. Channel break, new, well, matching low. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on here though. Now we're back at this key entry point. You think that would push up and trap the failed second entry short. There's a failed second entry long there. It's very tempting to take that. Something about this I don't like. Short-term trend with a break. Now you would think that would stop out the failures, but I don't like what I'm seeing here. It doesn't look like it's working up strong enough for me. No, something I don't like about this. Something I don't like about the channel, in all fairness, as well. I'm moving this. Something I don't like about this. How did I have it? I can't remember how I had it now. So that should work now, shouldn't it? You'd think so, but there's something about this I don't like. If it was like that, you would expect that to work. Trapping this, it may do, to be fair, but I don't like. There's something I don't like about this. I'm sitting tight here because something doesn't add up here. So channel break, matching low. There's a failed second entry long there. Yeah. It may work. Sometimes it eventually does, but I don't know. There's a failure there. It's probably going to break about this, but look at this now. It's finding a bit of resistance there, which worries me. So if that channel was valid, that would be a strong buy, you would think. And it's not liking it. It is a second entry long, and it is a trap, but this to me looks like it's about ready to drop. It may hold. It is holding, but I think that's dangerous. Yeah. I'm not sure about this channel, which is why I think it's reacting unfavourably. Yeah, something just didn't look right. Yeah, it's going to break below there, isn't it? If it does, I'm moving the channel back. I don't like the channel. If that holds, then I think the channel's valid. 1, 2, 3, triple test. Bounce, bounce, bounce. What to do, what to do?
Order submitted.
That's a triple test now.
Order submitted.
1, 2, 3, triple test. It's not a huge risk. I'm starting to regret it already. Channel down, that's more of a triple test. Damn it. Should have waited. It's just that held. It looks like it's going to break down. That is the type of time to give it an extra tick. Bounce, 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 triple test. I'm surprised. I'm getting out here. The frustrating thing is, well, let's see if it pushes up. 1, 2, 3, triple test. I still want to get out, I think. Yeah.
Order
I'm getting out of
filled.
here. It may work. I'm just getting out. It's just not. I don't like what it's doing. It's going to work now, ironically enough. But I don't want any part of it now. It's going to work now. It's so annoying, isn't it? I think the right decision was to get out there. Channel down, 1, 2, 3. I think that was the right time to get out of there. It may work, but it's struggling, so it's not a trade I want any part of anymore. And I'm just glad to get out of it because it'd be a shame to. But we got to push down. Sideways and a push. If it breaks above there, I think it'll work okay. Yeah, it probably will. But I don't know. Channel down, 1, 2, 3. I'm still not sure about this channel. We've had a push down. We're making a few attempts, so it could go down. I think it's 50-50 now, for me personally. It may change. Channel down, made 1, 2, 3 attempts to push higher. If it gets above there, it's okay, I think. But I'm just glad to get out. Because there's going to be quite a few longs in there. Okay. If it breaks above there, then it'll work, I think. But the fact is it's going sideways now. Anything could happen. As I say, I'm not a massive fan of this channel. Yeah, it's going to work now, I think, isn't it? Pop. Yeah, we got above there. Still not moving up strong, is it? Now it's taken out maybe a couple of stops. It may come down and clean this out. So just for now, I'm going to put that back to how I had it. It's about there, wasn't it? Yeah. channel down. It's made 3 attempts to push higher. This is going to push down, I think, there. The fact that it broke above here and didn't really do anything. Let's see. See, I go for 3 points. I'm glad I got out anyway. I got out for a tick. Did I? No, I got out for break even. So where did I get in? It was there, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. So, you know, I wouldn't have got nothing out of that. This is going to clean this out, surely. Trump is not making the market great again at the moment. You know, there's bound to be stops there, bound to be. So let's put that back to where I had it. This looks like an overshoot to me. And after an overshoot, I think you've got to be careful here. I mean, it hasn't managed to break below that line. Bullish, 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 and bullish. But because of that possible overshoot, we've got a channel down sideways. We could get another channel down. So I made the right decision to get out of it. Definitely now, anyway. I'm glad I got out, because if it would have lost, then I wouldn't be able to trade anymore my accounts then for the day. So I made the right decision to get out there. Yes, if Dan's got that, he's got coming from here to there, I think. Something like that, isn't it? Well, going a bit higher over it is. Oh, I don't know, actually. I'll have a look in a minute. I was surprised when it broke above there that's all it did and then dropped. I mean, sometimes it does just eventually work. The fact that it hasn't managed to get below that line is only a good thing. It just makes it a little bit stronger. So would it have worked? I made the right decision to get out. See, I go for 3 points. I can't wait till it hits that. I mean, ATR is tiny at the moment. I might have to bring my profit target down to 2 points, I think, at the moment. So, I mean, sometimes it does work. I mean, it was a triple test, although not the greatest. And then it started just stacking up even more then. And then it was a big no. No, I still made the right decision to get out of that. Yeah, so he's got that the same as Dan, I think. So that would be there. Is that about right? There, I think. Let's have a look. So it is holding. Maybe it's just taking its time. It's not what I expected there, though. I thought it would be a bit stronger there, and it really struggled. I thought we were going to get another leg down, which is why I put that back. I'm still not a massive fan of this channel. Yeah, it is working there, but it's just something about this I don't like. Let's just remove it altogether, I think, for the minute. Let's have a look. Thomas is, see what he's got. Yeah. Okay. Let's have a just quick look how I've got that now. He's got that the same. He's actually in a trade there. Just might have been one of those ones. Yeah, Thomas Wade's got it like that as a second one. It just doesn't work for me as a bigger channel. He's got it as well. Taylor, break. Yeah, so it doesn't work for me, a big channel. We've got a channel up there with a correction and something a little less steep. A bigger channel doesn't work for me at the moment. That may change sometimes as these develop. I would say that would be probably better. But at the moment, we've only touched it twice. If that came down to here and bounced, then I would do something like that. But at the moment, that's as good as I can do at the moment. So 2 legs up, not quite a measured move. So based on seeing that, if this is a channel, we didn't quite get to the top. I probably would have avoided that anyway. I thought for a second that was about to take me out, but it held. So you've got a bullish bar here, a bullish bar here, a bullish bar there, and another bullish bar there. There's also a bearish bar, a bearish bar. So there was a bit of a battle going on there, but I think because of the recent uptrend, and still technically the bias is up, I think that's why that won over. Now that may be indeed like that, and it might be a little spike and channel. But I don't know at the moment. Just going to put it like that for now and just assume we've had a bit of a break. But it's not easy. Sometimes these channels just fit like a glove. Other times you got to work at them. And what I find sometimes, if I can't get something I like, get rid of it and start again. So more people seem to have that like that. Well, I say more people. Let's just have a look how many. So Archer's looking at the same. He's basically got the same. Stop Hunter. Thomas Wade, the same. That's the 10,000 tick chart. Yeah, it kind of works. Stop Hunter, same again. What's his name? And I can't remember. So he's got the same. And then if we look over at Downs, let's have a look. But I do believe, let's have a look. He's still got that at the moment. Well, he's actually got that one, which is more or less the same, but I'm just not sure about that at the moment. Now, I know Dan and I respect him, but when you've been trading a while, you have to do what you believe is right because you're the one that's got to take the trades based on it. So if I adjust the channel to one I don't like, but because someone more experienced has got it, if something goes wrong, it's almost like copying someone else's trades. If it goes wrong, you kick yourself. And my experience of copying other people's trades doesn't end well. In fact, maybe 3-4 months ago, Thomas Wade got in, Taylor got in. It looked congested to me. I thought they're more experienced than me. It came back on a limit. I got in and I lost the trade. It looked too congested to me. So I have learned that I know enough to be able to make money now, but I have to trust what I think's right, and that looks right. There's a correction. This is going up at a different angle, so I don't believe at the moment that this is a larger channel. Now, if it comes back down to about here and I can make something up that looks better, then I will adjust it, but you have to kind of develop. So at the moment, this looks better. Yeah, so I mean, sometimes they do work. I think what ended up going for that is the fact that there was quite a few bullish bars there. So I think sort of momentum ended up pushing it up just enough, but I still wouldn't have got me 3 points. Maybe I would have done. But I'm wondering now, are we going a bit sideways? It wouldn't look terrible. I'm going to pay attention to that as well. Obviously depends on what this does. If that comes up, then things will change. Yeah, see, Dan's just said this is exactly how he read it. That just don't look right to me. You've got all this big vacant area here. It is working along the midline a bit, but then we have the tiniest of breaks, which is unusual. 10 points away from completely retracing the FOMC interest rate drop. You got a better memory than me, mate. I can't remember where it went down from. When was it? Was it a week or so ago? I can't remember. Or longer than that. May have been longer than that. I know we're not a million miles from all-time highs. All-time highs are up here. It's just below that line, I think. Of course, we had that massive drop, wasn't it? About 10 days ago. Yeah, we had that huge drop, didn't we? Let's have a look on the daily. The thing just kept dropping and dropping and dropping, didn't it? It's about a month ago, was it? So these are daily, aren't they? See, that's one I remember. These are days. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Yeah, it's not far away. That I'm guessing 3% was at it there. I think it might have been. It was probably the biggest. Well, it's the biggest red candle I can see. I mean, we had those 3 days, didn't we? It's about 50 points, small time highs. Yeah. That was a fair size one, wasn't it? And then we recovered a little bit, but so that's kind of when it went. Yeah, I mean, it went down 220. Well, actually, from the high, let's call it there, because that's when it seemed to drop. And then we had a 220 point move before we recovered a little bit. But it's still a fair size move, wasn't it? So I'm guessing, yeah, just under 4 weeks ago. But yeah, you're right. We're right neck and neck. Well, we're actually right on it now, but we're a little bit above all-time highs. So whether that'll continue straight up or we may get a bit of a pullback, you probably think a bit of a pullback. We had that push up, small pullback, push up. So you may get a pullback before we hit it, but I don't know. I've got it at about 50 points away, something like that. For where we are now, yeah, 55 points, 50 points from up here, I think, something like that. Just over 50 points. So it's not a lot, really, is it? So there is a second entry long there. I'm staying out of this. It hasn't triggered anyway, because it's, I don't know, it needs to give me a little bit more information here. Second entry long, yeah. I mean, it is a second entry long, but you're going long into these highs. See how we've had these two touches, and we've had another little couple of touches here. So, and it kind of looks a bit rangy. So, my gut feeling is telling me to stay out of this. So, there may end up being some kind of a spike in channel. That wouldn't look terrible, but it's early days at the moment. But I'll be looking for a couple of legs here, so my gut is telling me don't take a long here. Not only that, it's, if you take a tick above there, you're only literally a point away from there. You're 3/4 of a point away from support. So, I mean, if you scalped a point, it might not be terrible. I'm also out of this one. Yeah, it is looking a little bit sideways, isn't it? We've got this leg back, another push up. We could have two legs back, taking us back to here again. So 2 legs overall. Let's have a look at the 10,000 tick chart. That might show it a bit more clearly. Yeah. Yeah, it kind of does and it doesn't. So we've had this break. We've had 2 pushes up to a new high, a retest of it. So I'd want a leg and a leg back to around about here before I even consider going long, because at the moment it is a little bit sideways. That channel's played out. See, that channel looks perfect with a break, 2 pushes to a new high and a retest. So that actually makes sense to me. Now, that is that basically with the brake, and then the scenic route to the new highs, which it often does after, I found, my experience tells me the bigger the trend up, the more the scenic route it takes before it pushes up for a new high. So I never get involved in a long the second we brake, because often it'll trigger you and then come down and then eventually go where you thought it would go. So experiences told me when we have a big move up in a brake, don't just jump straight in on the next long. Just give it a little bit of space to work its magic. Now, it does look like it's working up at an angle, so maybe there is something slightly wider there, but it's still sideways to me. So you're best off sit tight, I think. It may clear out some of this. Yeah, it is, isn't it? So we're having a leg and a leg. And looking at on the 10,000 tick chart, it could possibly reverse now. We've had this push up with a break, 2 pushes to a new higher retest. I'm not saying it will, but it could do. Everything's played out there. So I got to give it a little bit of space now. I don't want to just assume we're going to continue on up. There would be a second entry long there, but it's taken out any possible stops there. But as I say, break new high, it could reverse. See, looking on the daily, it did look like it could certainly have a pullback before it does push higher. Yeah, this is not one I want to fade here either. There's something about this I don't like. Ordinarily you'd fade this, wouldn't you? But that is just not an attractive looking long to take, really. Yeah, I'm glad one of those didn't trigger, because they'd have trapped more traders in there. Hopefully Dan posts his chart a little bit more. The thing I like about Thomas Wades is he posts it literally every 3 to 5 minutes. So the last time Dan posted his chart was 10 minutes, 11 minutes ago. But I don't like that. It's just something about this I don't like. That, fair enough, but that is a different entity in itself, I think. Yeah, another guy's got the same. That just doesn't look right to me. Okay, I'm not in a rush to fade this. Because it has played out. This big channel has played out. So we've had a break from this. We've had 2 pushes up to a new high and a retest. This channel is at a break and a new high. So both these channels, in my opinion, have played out. So I have to give it that chance that it may decide to reverse, or at least maybe come into a bigger range, whether it be that or something like that. But I'm not in a rush to fade this. Because everything's played out. If it was in the channel, then I would. I still don't think there's anything larger there. Even if I go here, something's not right there. It could be. But for me, I just can't find something that I like. That wouldn't look terrible, but we've only really had 2 touches of it. Does that fit anywhere on the way down? Not for me just yet, so I'm just going to sit tight on this and give it a bit of space. It doesn't look in a rush to push up to me. Doesn't look like a strong indicator that I'd want to buy from. I think after you've been doing it a while, I'm not mega experienced. I've been trading for 4 years. I've been trading Pats for 3.5 years. I think after a while, you just look at it and it just doesn't. It either looks like a nice, trusting picture or something doesn't feel right. I don't have to count anymore. I can see 2 legs. I can see second entries, but something just doesn't look right to me, and I think you get that feeling. Something, in more cases than not, it saves you. Doesn't stop it pushing up, but just doesn't look like a nice picture to jump in long. So there is a possibility it could reverse or just come down into a bigger trend channel. Or it could continue on up. But for me, my instinct is telling me I need to stay out of this. It's got danger written on it. Yeah, see, someone's mentioned high or low. That's not the first thing that comes to my mind. I mean, if it went bullish, I understand why people are thinking high or low, but this to me, these are looking vulnerable, so I wouldn't be thinking about going long at the moment. Someone said fail breakout. Let's see if this. I'm still not ready to go long. That's still below the EMA. It could trigger, giving us a second entry short stroke failure, which it has. It could push up, but for me, this has got danger written all over it. This has. I'm not ready to short just yet either, I don't think. Too much support. Yeah, there's obviously a battle going on here, isn't it? But just the fact that we've got this and it's looping down at the moment. This is played out, the bigger one's played out. So I think there's going to be quite a few people going long here, but this is just looking wrong to me. Now, it could go the other way. We could trap the short and push up, This is coming down for me, I think. Certainly to take out these, but it could be a failure. Trapping some shorts. I don't think it's a terrible trade, but it is going short into support, and it's still a little bit clear, which is why I'm staying. My gut is telling me it's more likely to come down and take out these areas than it is to go up. But I'm not confident enough to trade it. Because there's bulls and bears in this market at the moment. So we'll see if it holds or it takes that out. My guess is it's going to come down. Is it going to come this low? Yeah, it is, surely. Still not worth me taking it. ATR's mega low at the moment, and it is a bit sideways. So even if I brought it down to 2 points, it's still got to break below there to trigger. Yeah, so you'd have got 1.5 out of it. So there's 2 points. 6 ticks. It's probably going to break the lows. I would have said it would have to come down this low. So I would go for 2 points there because of the ATR. So I'll be surprised if it doesn't hit that. If it breaks below there, yeah. So it would have worked. So I'm reading the market right. I just won't want to go long here. It's just dangerous as hell to go long. And usually if I'm thinking it's Taylor took a long, yeah, it's risky, or like risky as hell, that is. Yeah, he has, hasn't he? Yeah, it's too risky, that. Just the fact that, one, we've already had a break from this and a new high, so that's played out. 2, we've already had a break from that. 2 pushes to a new high, so I'm not saying it isn't going to go long. It could have done, but after a while, you just get used to knowing when something doesn't. It's a feeling you get, isn't it? Tricky day, yeah, it is. It's a feeling you get. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still get trapped once in a while, but I get trapped a lot less than I used to. But yeah, this is just risky. Not only that, this does kind of look like it's fitting, and this just looks a bit vague. So Matt goes on about experience. It takes time, and after a while, you do start to get a feeling. It's just an unnervy feeling. Something told me that high or low was going to reverse. Yeah, I mean, there's no guarantees, is there? But it's like anything. When you've been driving years, you kind of do it without thinking about it. Why? You know, I remember when I first learned to drive, I was looking down at the pedals, looking at the gear stick. And after a while, when you get more experience, you start to be able to look up and look around. And as your experience grows, you just, you know, occasionally we've been in a sticky situation in the car and I've had to hit the brakes quickly. And my wife is saying, why are you so calm? And I'm like, because it's happened to me 1,000 times. So it's experience when you know something doesn't feel right. And the more you do it, the more you sort of act on instinct. It's the picture for me. It doesn't look like a strong picture. Excuse me, now I'm freezing here. 1 second. There you go, a bit of heating. Now, I'm not saying it's going to reverse. We could just get a correction. It may go higher. You know, it may meet up with something else. But I don't know, who knows. But it's a nice feeling when you feel like something doesn't look right and you stay out and it does what you think it was going to do. It does give you that feeling that you are learning to spot danger areas. So would I want to fade here? Not really. Because that looks like it may be the start of a downtrend. I mean, it may fade and push up higher. But the fact that it technically, I wouldn't even go as far as to say that's even a channel. It just looks like 2 pushes up, really, doesn't it? It doesn't fit as a channel, I don't think, does it? No, that's just been it, I think. Just looks like 2 pushes, really. Yeah, you do after a while, Daryl, don't you? You get a feeling something don't feel right, Jedi mind. Well, it's sort of what it is, really, isn't it? It's experience. And I find sometimes the more you get stitched up by this market, you do learn. I mean, if you wake up every morning and there's a guy hanging over you with a big stick prodding you, sooner or later you'll start to avoid him, won't you? So it is that experience that Matt talks about. It takes years to do, and it does. You know, you get better and better, but I used to fall foul to those all the time. And I don't as much now. It still does that from time to time. We all read the markets from time to time. But I was surprised Taylor took that, actually. But he's a numbers trader. he can take the losses. He just goes for the numbers. If it looks like it's worth a trade, he'll take it. He actually took that. Well, he's got it marked, so he may have already got some decent points there. So he plays the numbers, he does. I wish I was that type of trader, but I still don't like taking losses, to be honest with you. I still have Guardian Angel covering my arse at the moment. See, there is a failed second entry long there, but we're stacking up. It could push back in. It may not. I'm not massively convinced this is a full-out reversal at the moment. It just may be 2 legs down. I wouldn't want to fade the... No, I'm just sitting tight here at the moment. Yeah, I did post this actually when I was looking at it. Second entry short, he's put too much support. It is, but we've just broken below it. So any stops here, really, if you're trading these as a scalper, that's killed out all your stops. So any support that this area here is gone. Really, that's the way I see it. So now we pull back, you're going to have buyers going. And once that starts to come down there, my gut feeling is this. Look at this coming down now. Now, whether it's temporary, and it did, but once this is broken below this, any support really that was there, especially if you trade in this area here, really, you're a scalper, aren't you? Or you're going for long term. So, you know, if you just buy here, your stops are going to be here. So that clears out your stops, doesn't it? And then traps some longs before it comes down some more. So I'm going to give that a little bit of space. Not much. So, you know, there's always a possibility there may be something larger on the cards, but I won't want to fade this just yet. I have a larger channel from 3:55 Eastern, so 4, 5, 6, 7. That will be 8:39, 8:55. That'll be 8:55 down here. So you're in early then, aren't you? How you doing, Sean? So, yeah, I mean, I'm not oblivious to the fact that there may be something like that. It looks okay to me. In fact, that looks actually better. In fact, I was going to say it's how I had it. I didn't. I had it there, didn't I? So we've got a little bounce here, maybe. In fact, I had it there initially because we had the overshoot. So maybe... it's like that. That's it. But yeah, I'll go with your analysis there because I think that fits better and it fits. So, you know, I'm not oblivious to the fact this, but which is why, you know, I wasn't massively convinced this market was coming down. But now we've had a bounce here. You know, the thing about trading is you're constantly developing. You know, every 5 minutes, aren't you? Things are changing. As market goes up and hits certain areas, things fit better at certain times of the day. But we've got 3 touches and it fits nice. It may be and it may not be. Depends on what happens here. So what I'm going to do is just take away the colour so it's an area of interest rather than I'm 100% convinced that, it's a fitter. Okay, so that did turn into a fade, actually. I just wasn't sure about it. But it's clearly worked, doesn't it? So let's see where this thing goes. Well, it depends. Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, what might look right 1 minute, 10 minutes later may look completely different. So it is, but I don't think that's bad. It's certainly about as good as I've got at the moment. What I will say about Take Profit Trader is I asked them about my affiliate code and I could speak to them live, and they've just messaged me saying, oh, we're of help. That's good, actually. That's the thing sometimes with Apex. It can take you a day or two to get a response, and sometimes... Okay, so that's played out. So our little downtrend has played out. So let's see if this breaks there and then bounces. I'd say it's likely to break that lows, or it may just have a little bounce. Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I've been trading this style now for 3.5 years, and I think it's got harder. Now, whether it's my experience, I've gained experience and there's a lot more decisions going on in the back of my brain, which makes me feel like it's a lot more complicated, or perhaps I've made it complicated, but it seems harder. Trades seem to be a lot more available. There was more. I mean, I remember, hey Lance, do you get more aggressive when you were trying to pass PA accounts? When I'm trying to pass them, yeah, absolutely, mate. I've had, up until relatively recently, I've had an issue when I get new PA accounts, I get a little bit aggressive then. I don't think it's the right way to do it, but when you pay $85, which is about £67 English, when you get a PA, it starts at 0. Once I start to get some money into it, I start to go into protection mode, but I've had a bit of a habit of taking riskier trades and sometimes doubling up just to get a little bit of a head start on my PA. Well, I've decided to stop that now. It's something I've struggled with a little bit. So what I used to do is my accounts with money in, I'd lock with Guardian Angel Trader, and I'd leave 1 or 2 new PAs open that I can trade them a bit more, and I'm starting to realise it's just not worth it anymore. But yeah, I do trade my evaluations aggressively, bud. And if I'm honest, I probably blow 4 for every one I pass, maybe even a bit more than that. So, I mean, you can pass them in a day. So effectively, if I pass an evaluation today, I've got a live PA account tomorrow. So the fact that you can pass it in a day is the main reason why I think people trade them aggressively. It used to be, well, I think it was 10 days initially, going back a couple of years. Then they took it down to, I think, 7 days or 6 days, and then maybe 5, and then they took it down to 1 day. The trouble is, with 1 day, and I know, if I could be trading a live account tomorrow, and you're going to blow more accounts. I'd say, really, if you're going to trade these accounts aggressively, these evaluations, I'd say you're better off trading them on the news, because I think you've got a 50-50 chance, maybe even more. And trade an OCO order as well, so have a buy order and a sell order at the same time. Market goes up, it's your buy order, makes your points, cancels out your sell order. On the odd occasion, though, price whips in one direction before it goes in the other direction, and you can blow the account there. But I think for me personally, I'm going to now just trade one evaluation every big news event we get. And then I'm going to leave them alone then, because I trade them stupidly sometimes. I mean, I've had 10 in one night, really, and past one of them, something stupid like that. That's all good and well, you know, if it's 90% off, but you know, if you're paying, I don't know, $30 odd, you blow 10 of them, it's a lot of money to just chuck away. So I'm trying to, I don't know, I still have that little bit of weakness where I take risks sometimes. Not so much when I've got PAs with money in, but on evaluations, and I've got to stop it. It's a bad habit to get into. So I'm still on the fence. Yeah, see, there's a few trades like that. That just does not look in any way, shape, or form a channel to me. Just doesn't make sense. Maybe it does. I don't know. I don't like any of those really. Certainly not that one. I'm sorry if it's yours. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me. You have to do what you feel's right, I think, because ultimately you're the one that's got to trade it. And if you follow someone else's and it goes wrong, it probably doesn't help you learn. So, channel break, new low. So if that is a channel, we've had a small break there. Now, there is a possibility we could go back to my initial bit. Let me just change this, which would have been there. And that would not look too bad. So, touch. I mean, we had it so there was a bit of an overshoot. So at the moment, I'm a bit on the fence here. We kind of bounced off overnight highs twice. Yeah, I don't pay too much attention to them, but I should do. Yeah, we have. I know Penguin does. It's really important to Penguin. So perhaps I need to pay him attention as well. So channel down, one attempt to push higher, second attempt to push higher. Let's see where this goes. So I'm on the fence about this. Let's have a look at Thomas Wade, see what his guys are looking at. So yeah, kind of what I was looking at. Is there a bigger picture? Yeah, see, was that Taylor? Yeah, Taylor went long there and got trapped. Trouble is, we'd had a break, a new high and a retest, so you got to stay out of that. Thomas Wade, he's got the same thing, same again, break new high. So yeah, I like to look at them both because it's nice to have some opinions if I'm not 100% sure myself. I'm still not massively convinced about this. If it does continue higher, then I think, yeah, there's definitely something larger, but we've had a channel down. And two attempts to push higher. This still could come down. But it's just sitting and waiting time. How long have I been going for now? Bloody hell, the day's gone fast today. It's nearly 2 hours. So I'll tell you what, I'm just going to take a quick break. Let me just pop that on the screen at the moment. I'm just going to take a quick 3 to 5 minutes, make a drink. It's not the easiest day today. In fact, after the fact, it's easy then, isn't it? But in real time, when it's a little bit like this, it's hard to know exactly where price is going. So I'm going to leave that with you, and I'll be about 3 to 5 minutes. I'll be back. Okay, what's going on here? Okay, 10,000 tick chart. That's the channel we got up there with the break. 1, 2 pushes to a new high. In fact, yeah, a retest and a pullback. Now this looks like. So there's always that possibility. This could be sideways, or it could continue on. I think at the moment we got something like that. So we kind of went sideways to here, pushed up, went sideways to here, pushed up. So perhaps there is something larger. I mean, obviously that was quite a steep channel. This is something a little up a little bit less of an angle. So that fell second entry short on the engulfing. You got a better bar than me, have you? Yeah, it is. It's going up quite strong now. So how you doing, Brant? So like that as a measured leg, and I don't know, maybe it has worked its way up, but so I've got that at the moment. I think it's about as good as we've got, really. So look on. Yeah, no one on Thomas Wade's. This score's got this. I'm bummed. I traded 2 evals yesterday. Matt's contract ended the price. Went right to my take. Past both, but one is shown past the other, shown below. Yeah, it's, I don't know, sometimes things don't work. Who was I talking to the other day that took an evaluation on the news, and it rocketed up straight past his and it is ended up. Same with admin. So yeah, I know, it's weird how it works sometimes. Yeah, it's weird how it works sometimes. It does happen sometimes with news. In fact, usually with news, I've been okay with those. I know lately, the last couple of times we've had news, it's just shot up in one direction. But sometimes, you know, if I was got a long ear and a short ear, sometimes it whip up, hit the long, and then rock it down, or vice versa. The last couple of times, it has just shot in one direction. So max contracts, say, I don't know, so I went here, max contracts 6 points. Well, 6.25 I go for, which is not a huge move. And, in obviously when we have, swift moves, it surpasses that in one direction. But sometimes it can go up, come back a bit, and that's where it kind of kills you with your drawdown and then shoots up again. I suppose it does it so quick. But in essence, in our mind, it shoots in one direction. But I will say the last couple of times it has rocketed. But what I tend to do is trade my evals now. What in the news can draw down before hitting? Yeah, it can do. Yeah, sometimes it moves that quick. It's hard to know exactly what it's doing. It might look like it's done, but what I do now is trade the NQ for if I do news or something, because it doesn't need to move as much, sort of pound for pound. So I think I tend to go for 65 ticks, I think. So if I took a trade there, 65, 64, 66 ticks, it's a tiny movement. In some cases, it's as big as a bar. So that red bar there is about 67 ticks. So for news trading, I think it's better to trade this, because it's got less of a distance, whereas you've got to go for 6 points with this. And if you look at 6 points, even with a big bar, it's twice the size of that biggest bar I can see here. Let's have a look at that red bar. It's twice the size of that. So I think personally it's easy to pass them. Just never saw that happen before. Yeah, sometimes if price can. I've had it happen once before. Somebody mentioned it. Was it Sean? I can't remember who mentioned it the other day. It might have been Sean, but yeah, from trading news point of view, 65 ticks I go. That's 65 ticks, and it's about the size of an average bar. So it's a lot easier to move one width of a bar than it is twice that distance on the. So if you are going to trade the news, I don't think it's a bad way to trade it. I think really there's 75% chance of passing it quickly. Maybe a bit less, but I tend to pass 1 in 5 anyway, so I think I'll be better off. And you take a lot less, because obviously news only comes around a few times a month really that has that kind of maybe once a week. So I'm going to do that from now on. I'm going to leave the evals alone until the news, and I'm just going to trade them on the news. If they fail, I'm going to wait till the next time. Pass 1, no problem, and then there's blown the same trade, yeah. The good thing at the moment is they're still $85, which is surprising. That I'm surprised they've kept it $85. I am surprised we've not heard nothing from Apex lately. I thought we'd have had a discount now. It's surprising we've gone nearly 3 weeks without hearing about a discount, which is unusual. I can't remember the last time we waited that long. Strange. And especially with things like Take Profit Trader dropping that daily rule and making, their platform more attractive, you think that's the time that they need to drop some good discounts on. Because if it's not worth, personally, I wouldn't pay 50%. I'm not paying $85, because $85 plus 85 for the PA is $170. I can save $80 and get that with my Funny Futures. Although you've got to make sure you pass it. A bunch of people had it. There was a 90% discount last week. I got some accounts with 90% off. I heard nothing about that with Apex. And the strange thing is, they always email me. I always get an email whenever they have a thing. I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes some Facebook guys will advertise them at 90% off or a little bit more. Was it? I don't know. I never heard anything about that last week. The last one I remember was New Year, wasn't it? A couple of days after New Year. No, it was TBM, was it? TBM. How the hell did he get 90% off but no one else did? It's unusual. They don't usually show favouritism. For his followers. No, I've not heard them, have them for one, but not another. It's code. He's a funny one, isn't he? I'd love to know if those two Lamborghinis are bought and paid for. My question is, why would you have two Lamborghinis? Don't get me wrong, I like one. I don't know, I'm changing as I'm getting a bit older. I'd rather a nice Range Rover, I would, something plush and comfy. I don't know if I go for sport car anymore. There are one or two Ferraris I like, but I like comfort. In fact, I like those the Jags, the F Paces, the 4x4 Jags. I do. What is going on here now? This thing's moving up. So, if this is a channel, you may expect a reaction up here. In fact, I know there is an affiliate in court with Apex, I think, suing him for unpaid something or other. 100 or 200,000 a month. I mean, that is serious money, isn't it? Looks like exhaustion move coming, maybe, yeah. Yeah, I did hear about that. Apparently, they're the cost an arm and a leg to insure. I like them. But yeah, whether I buy one or not, it's a different story. But yeah, they are apparently really easy to get broken into. I did watch a program and there was a guy with this little gadget and he went, and that's it, open. So I believe they're getting expensive. I'm really surprised Jaguar haven't addressed that. Land Rover haven't addressed that, because you don't want to get a name like that. But yeah, what do I like at the moment? I very nearly bought in July. We upgraded our car. Well, one of them, we got a couple of cars, nothing fancy. But I was looking at the Audi. What is it? Is it the Audi e-tron, the electric car? There was a second-hand one about 2 years old for about 20,000, I think. I looked at it. Really nice cars. They weigh a ton. I think they're about 3.5 tons of stuff. And we ended up just getting something a bit cheap. We ended up getting a Vauxhall Grand X, which was about 13 grand or something. But I am a Jaguar fan. I used to work on them years ago. I used to have a dent business, paintless dent removal business, sort of early 2000s. And I used to... I'll tell you how long ago it was. I met Michael Owen, who used to play for Liverpool. I did some dents on his XK8 Jaguar in Chester. At Ryland Jaguar in Chester. That's how long ago it was. It was in the 2000s, early 2000s. And I worked on a lot of Jaguars, and they are absolutely bulletproof. They're rock solid. I'm talking about purely the bodywork here, not... I don't know much about engines, but the bodywork are absolute rock solid. And reasonably priced as well. Okay, so there's a really tight channel there. So what's going on here? Argentina, however, best to keep a low profile. I get you, mate. I get you. Argentina. Aren't you originally from Argentina, Karina? Right? Yeah. Where are you from? Are you from Spain or Argentina, Karina? I can't remember what you told me before. You told me twice before, but tomorrow, lovely day, Trump's speech. Yes, you are. Yeah, I thought you were. Be ready for a passive holiday. In fact, I was watching a bit of the speech and I saw, was it Kamala Harris and Biden stood there looking really uncomfortable. He's been on about trying to prosecute Biden. And I heard him talking. He said they've deemed him unfit for prosecution. And he said, how can you be running the most powerful nation in the world 1 week and a week later unfit to stand trial? Strange, isn't it? So let's just have a look, figure out what's going on here. So I'm going to put that there because this to me looks, I'm going to get rid of this channel. In fact, no, let's leave it at the moment. It might even be down here. American politics is the biggest clown show. I think all politics are clown shows. They're all the same politicians, aren't they? Yeah, they're all the same politicians. Okay, so maybe this is it. So this is, you're in Spain now. Spain. Spain. I've not been to Spain before, have I? I don't know. No, I don't know. I have. We've been everywhere but. Well, I've been to Mallorca, which is one of the Balearics, isn't it? That's off the coast of Spain, isn't it? Been to Mallorca. It's a popular destination for Brits. Spain is. It's so close. And Mallorca's 2 hours on a plane. And I'm a massive paella fan. I know, exactly. I don't qualify for being English, really, do I? Or have I been to Spain? I don't think I have, actually. I've been everywhere but. Last holiday was Ibiza and then Rhodes. We did Ibiza and Rhodes a week each in 1 year, which we don't often. People don't like arguing. We go to it. In fact, I was watching a comedian the other night. He was talking about we go to these countries and it's weird. Wherever you go to these countries, they have entertainment. They always seem to have bloody bingo. I think they think every British person plays bingo. Usually it's old ladies with those big marker pens. But everywhere you go where, you know, they have English people there, they always seem to have bloody bingo. It's yeah, I love Mallorca, actually. I breathe for it. Yeah, it is. It kind of is Spain, isn't it? And what's it is as well. Mallorca. It's kind of the Spanish islands, isn't it? But I love Mallorca. It's 2 hours on a plane from the UK. It's ideal. And the coastline, I think we went to Magaluf. And the coastline was beautiful. I had one of the worst hangovers of my life there. I went there with some friends, me and my wife and a couple of friends. And my friend, Mick, his name is Mike, he's strong as an ox. And we went out one night into Palma Nova, just the two of us. I think it was my birthday. And he is absolutely as strong as an ox. He fits windows and conservatories for a living, so he'll stand there on ladders. He's got the biggest calves you've ever seen in your life. And we went out one night into this square bit in Palma Nova, and we had quite a few drinks. And there was one of those bucking Broncos ones, and my mate jumped on it, and I said to the guy, I bet you £5 you can't get him off. And he flicked the button and it span round, and my mate shot through the air and landed on a load of tables and fractured 2 ribs. So he couldn't lay on his front all the holiday. So he went home with a brown front of the body, and the back of his body was white. So I think we rolled up at about 6 o'clock in the morning. But I remember being in a bar, laying on the bar. It was what was that program that was that film out years ago? Coyote Ugly. We went to a bar called Coyote Ugly. And I remember I was laying on my back with my shirt off with some lady pouring some spirit into me mouth from her stiletto heel. It was quite a wild old night, that was. We went on one of those, what's them great big catapults as well? They sit you in a basket and they fire you, I don't know, a couple of 100 metres in the air. We did one of those as well. I wouldn't advise that after a few drinks. I always get very brave when I've had a few beers. But yeah, my mate broke a couple of ribs. And could only lay on his back, so he went home with a lovely brown front, but his back was completely white. He'd been in that bar. Yeah, it's a great place. I love Mallorca. It's just great. 2 hours. It's so quick. I find flying just so boring. I hate being stuck in small spaces. I like to get up, move around. There is a second entry long here, but as we seem to be at the top of this channel, I'm avoiding this. But we went to I'd never been to a strip bar. You wouldn't think so, would you? I mean, I've never ever been to a strip bar. They don't get many in the UK. Well, certainly not where I live. And my mate taught me into going. I remember coming back and getting my credit card bill, and it was, I think it was about something like £180 just in that one bar. So yeah, I'd kind of never experienced that. I had this girl dancing in front of me, and I just felt so odd. And I remember the doorman was looking at me and just pointing to me hands. Put your hands by your side. I didn't know what to touch, what not to touch. It was a good holiday, that was, actually. I enjoyed it. But I really like, yeah, fantastic coastline, absolutely stunning coastline. It's where I first ever did a dive there. Stunning coastline. But yeah, there's like a square. There's like a big square, and there's bars all around these squares. And yeah, Coyote Uglies. There was a few others. I can't remember what they were now. But it's got to be 10, 12. No, it's probably more than that. It's for my daughter's one, so it's probably 16, 17 years ago. And Ibiza I liked, actually. We stopped in, I forget what it was called, Carlalunga, which is, it's just around the coast, and we went to the old town. It's beautiful. And Rhodes as well. I really enjoyed Rhodes. So, second entry long, to be honest with that, ATR's that low. I'm not a fan of it. I think they're risky. It does look like the top of a range, and normally when you get to the top, it works its way back. So this channel is about as good as I've got at the moment. So I think going long there, quite close to the top, is a little bit on the risky side, I think. Obviously, at the top of these, that's where you get your pullback. So, and not only that, that ATR's that low. It's just not worth taking a trade, really. I don't think there. What's it gone up? 3/4 of a tick, a point maybe. I mean, there's only 2 1/4 to the lows. What's the risk? 2.7. I'm not risking $275 going long there. That close to the top. You'd expect at least a couple of legs back, wouldn't you? You got out to the tick, did you? Yeah. I mean, sometimes they work, but I don't know. I would prefer that bar. If I was going to take a long there, I prefer it a little bit, but I prefer these legs when they're kind of more side by side, you know, kind of like that, rather than like that. You know what I'm saying? I prefer them side by side. That's what gives me that confidence to go long there. But it is a second entry long. It's 2 pushes down, but it's just touched that EMA and it is close to the top there. So I just think that adds an element of risk. Now, this thing could rocket up here above all this, it could do, but usually at the tops, it's where you'd expect price to come back towards this side. And same again there. We did have another go, but eventually it came back. So we're actually right at the top. So that for me is a place where price could come back if it was going to. So it hasn't taken the stop out, so it may work, but there's only a couple of points to the top, so I don't want the risk for that. Have I been to the US? I haven't been to the USA, no. The closest I've been to the US is Cuba, which is pretty close, actually. I think we're about 65 miles off the coast of Florida, I'm assuming. But no, I've never been. It's on my list of places to go. I absolutely love Cuba. It's almost like going back in time. It's surreal. I absolutely loved it. I always find if you go to places that's steeped in history, get out, get a few beers in you, and you relax and you start almost going back 60, 70 years. I loved it. I thought Havana was absolutely spectacular, but it literally is like going. It's about as close as. There's many places around. Mind you, I went to Egypt years ago and. We were going through Cairo, and you see families still living alongside the Nile, living like they would have done in biblical times, I suppose. But yeah, I thought it was spectacular. I think we did about three nights in Havana, and then I think it was 11 nights in Varadero. Varadero was just like your typical kind of beach resort, but. Hey Chris, how you doing, buddy? How you doing, mate? You must go and rent a Porsche or a Mustang and drive. Yeah, I had a friend who did the Route 66, hired a motorcycle and did Route 66. I don't know where I'd love to go. We very nearly went to New York one Christmas, so I'd like to go to New York, leading up to Christmas, bit of Christmas shopping. But I had a friend who used to go to Sarasota quite a lot, and he said he loved it down there. Yeah, Cuba's great. Havana, I thought was amazing. It really is like going back in time. It's easier. I think you US guys, you mean drive? Yeah. I know what you mean. Never had a bad time anyway. No, me neither. Really, me neither. Is there anywhere that I wouldn't go again? Probably not. Not really. Turkey I love. I'm a fan of Turkey. Is there anywhere I wouldn't go or didn't feel safe? Not really. Dubai is on my list. I'd love to go and live in Dubai, I would. But that's on my list. In fact, I was looking at, I think we may have a week away this year. I was looking at Dubai a couple of days ago, just at prices. Quite reasonable, actually. So, but I lived in Cyprus as a young lad from about the ages of 9 till about 11. My stepdad was in the army, and we lived there for a couple of years. So I'd like to take my daughter there, show her where I used to live and where I went to school. So this is actually working quite nice now. Yeah, Cyprus was nice. But I lived there for 2 years, and I went back about 20 years ago. Maybe a bit less than that, and it got a little bit more expensive at the time, but I did like Cyprus. Food as well, if you like your food, your mezzis and stuff, I love Cyprus. I'll tell you where else I'd recommend as well is Kenya. We got married in Kenya. I think we had a week in Mombasa, a week on safari, and then we came back to Mombasa, got married, and spent a week on the coast again. So I thought that was amazing as well. We flew to the Masai Mara, although I thought, flying back to the Masai Mara, I thought it was going to be curtains for us both. We were flying past Kilimanjaro and we hit a storm. I've I'm not what I would consider a massive flyer. I've not spent a lot of time in planes, but we hit this storm, and I've never experienced anything like it. It was a relatively small plane. It was about 35 seater, and we had hail, rain, everything went black. It was going for a black cloud, and that plane was getting battered around, and me and my wife were literally holding hands, almost saying goodbye to each other. It was proper scare. I think that's probably the most scared I've ever been for losing my life, I think. And then all of a sudden we came out of it, and we were actually speaking to one of the pilots on the way back, and he said they get that experience at least once a week. So it's just, when you're not expecting it, and you're not done a huge amount of flying. But have you heard of Saudi Arabia's new mirrored city? I haven't. I don't. Oh yes, I have. Isn't it like one big channel that goes right the way through Saudi Arabia? Yeah, I have. I like watching. I watched a few programs, a few documentaries about how they built the Burj Khalifa, and there's another place. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. How they built the Burj Khalifa and how they built that 7-star hotel. I enjoy programs like that, and yeah, I caught that. It's almost like it's like a thin mirrored wall, isn't it? Which travels through. Yeah, ain't technology amazing now what they can do? It's supposed to be self-sufficient, isn't it? Trouble is, there's such a lot of places. On Earth that's sort of inhabitable at the moment, which they are kind of looking, kind of learning new ways of developing things that can sort of sustain people a little better. They were also building was it in Egypt? I can't remember. They were building like a big canal through it, or somewhere over that area in the Middle East. Through the desert, they were building this big canal to try and get more water sort of inland, so that it can kind of sustain, because you can't grow nothing out there really. But yeah, amazing really. But yeah, I love Kenya. I've never experienced warm seas like that before. It was like a warm bath, but yeah, that plane ride back was a bit scary. It was kind of surreal, and then literally 5 minutes later, as soon as we started to hit the coast, everything just cleared up and we landed, and it was just like such a surreal, such a surreal thing. But, you're not used to getting thrown around in aircraft. All modern day aircrafts now generally avoid turbulence and stuff like that to a degree, don't they? Just for pure comfort. Not that the planes can't stand it, but I think it was just the fact that everything went black as well. It was just weird, scary. And the thing is, when you're in Kenya and you drop off at hotels, you land, drop off, take off, land, drop off. We had about 5 or 6 ups and downs before we got to where we were. But that was fantastic. Going on safari. I think we did safari early in the morning, late in the evening. Then we stopped in this kind of giant tree house right on the Mara River. It was this hotel built into these trees. It was fantastic. And we stopped in these tents, kind of big old-fashioned tents that you see in Africa, great big thick canvas things. Kind of built onto a wooden frame, and they had like mahogany. They had a big 4-poster mahogany bed and mahogany wardrobes and a big walk-in shower. It was fantastic. Because you're in the Masai Mara, you're at 5,000 feet. It gets a bit chilly at night, and they turn up and put hot water bottles in your bed, and it was just, I loved it. It's great. So if you ever get a chance to go to Africa, absolute poverty over there, which is a shame, but it's a good reason to go there, really, because at least you're helping the economy to a degree. But yeah, if you've never been on safari, it's something else. So second entry did work, but same again, we're in this area here now. There is, after this sort of correction and retest, that we are coming to a measured move here. So another reason I would be inclined not to go long, but the second entry did work for a bit. So yeah, you'd have got, see, I go for 3 and a bit, 3 points, so I'd have to hit there. So I was quite happy to stay out of that. It doesn't bother me about leaving trades. Let's have a look at her. Yeah, so Dan's got that channel now anyway. Yeah, yes. He's got his to there, which I don't think it's neither in there really, is it? It's about there. Cost of seeing the gorillas in Rwanda. Some other places, maybe Kenya, is crazy expensive. Yeah, what was it like for us? Well, we were there quite a bit ago. We got married, it was 20 years ago now, was it? 20 years? Yeah, I think it was 20 years. 19 years, 19, 20 years, something like that. It wasn't too bad, I don't think. But yeah, I suppose like anywhere you go, you know, sometimes you go to these holiday places and it's almost like you feel like you're on a money making machine. It's all money, 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 isn't it? But it's kind of the way it is, isn't it? But Dubai's on my list. I did love Egypt. I only went to Egypt. We actually went on a like a short cruise from Cyprus to Egypt, and then we just sort of did a weekend. You know, drove up from Giza, the port of Giza, drove up to Cairo, went a few places around Cairo. You know, they drag around the gold shops, and we went to the Museum of Antiquities, and then they take you up to Giza to look at the pyramids, and it's kind of like a flying visit. They do it quite well, actually. But I'd like to do one of these Nile cruises where I know my mum and my auntie did one about 10 years ago. These Nile cruises where you go around the Valley of the Kings. As you get a bit older, all that historic stuff that you find boring as a kid, it gets quite nice actually after a while. So we're hitting support again here, so it'd be interesting to see where this thing goes. So tight channel with a break, 1-2 pushes to a new high. So that channel's played out now. So I expect a bit of a correction, I think. Looks like a spike in channel. Let's have a look at the 10,000. Let's have a look at this. Is that 10,000? Yeah, it is, isn't it? Okay, so hold on a minute. Oh, that's the NQ. I thought something didn't look right. Yes, that's how I got it. Yeah, so we're kind of at the top, aren't we? So you'd expect, a couple of legs, a little bit of sideways. Obviously, if this thing goes up, but we've had a channel with a break. You could say 2 pushes to a new high or 2 legs to a new high. I mean, it does look like it's continuing on and up, doesn't it? So it's just not an area where I would think about going long, really. It's got to come back, isn't it? 2 legs back, back to this side, back to this side. So But Turkey's lovely. If you've never been to Turkey, we went to, what's it called? It's where that big, that lagoon is, the Blue Lagoon. It's massive. If you're into your paragliding, it's kind of like the Mecca for paragliding. Everywhere you look, there's people buzzing past your ears. No, not Bodrum. Oh, what's it called? It's gone blank. Come to me. You're sort of surrounded by mountains. I think it's the most photographed place in Turkey. And there's a big blue lagoon. What's it called? Aludnes. Sorry, yeah, Aludnes. I loved it. So we have got 2 legs up near enough, so we're not far off. Yeah, Ludinez, beautiful, absolutely stunning. But yeah, it's a mecca for paragliders. They're just everywhere. Not my thing. Well, I don't know. I've changed. I did some skydiving when I was young, a bit in my early 20s. I haven't got the nerve to do stuff like that now. Market is slow, mate. Yeah, I think it's getting to this area up here where, people are going, well, do you go long here? Do you go short here? But yeah, it is nothing worse than a slow market. Mind you, when it's like this, a spike and channel, often you can get it. It kind of mirrors it, doesn't it? You can get a push out the top. So I wouldn't be shocked if we had a push out the top. But we are coming to this measured leg. Well, that's how I see it anyway. I've got it from that initial move. So we had this channel. We had kind of 2 legs back. And we tested that line. So I've got that to there. And then we kind of had a correction or a couple of legs back or whatever. And then we've had that another push up again. So I would have suggested we'll probably push up and hit that or close to it. But I'm glad my patience seemed to have come back today. There has been a couple of times. Well, I got in, I think it was that one. It did work in the end. It was that one I took there. Would have worked for, in fact, it might not have done actually. That wouldn't have worked for the full 3. Mind you, I did say earlier I'd have got out, I think a couple of points is ample at the moment. So it did eventually work, but it did continue to go sideways, and it was kind of hit and miss where it was going. It looked like it may be going down because we had a triple test here at least and a triple test short as well. So, sometimes we'll have that push down move and the push down the opposite side. So it got a bit hit and miss. So I got out for a break even. So I think it was the right time to get out there once it started to stack up, because once it goes sideways, that the chance of your trade winning there does start to diminish a bit. I mean, the fact that we're going up is always on your side if you're going long, but it was a good decision to get out there, even though it did work for a couple of points and we had a new high. It was still a good decision to get out there, really. You make a decision, you got to stand by it, and it did start stacking up, didn't it? I went there after the triple test and it was already a little bit congested, but the fact we'd had a triple test, I thought it was going to push up. Once it got above these, it was probably going to reach high, but unfortunately we had another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars really before the 6th one it started to move up. So right time to get out. Sometimes it is. The 1 minute chart, literally straight line, no pulls back, is it really? We're also at the 0.5 STD dev from initial balance. Like that doesn't mean much to me, Tony. We're at the what? 0.5 STD. Isn't that a sexually transmitted disease? Or STD. Initial balance high. Oh, President Trump breaking news. President Trump signs a death penalty for treason in the US government. Oh, standard deviation, I got you. Yeah, it depends how you trade. Just as a pure price action trade, I don't mean a lot really to me. Are you only using... Yes, I am at the moment, bud. How you doing, Jay? Okay, so that measured move's played right to the tick. So leg up, leg up. I am at the moment, yeah. I'm just waiting on some payments to hit my bank account. It's been sent. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to have one... I might have a take profit trader, actually. I like the fact that I've only had 2 of those before, but I didn't like that daily loss limit. But I think there's an offer on it at the moment. I don't know. So I kind of want to start to diversify a little bit. I think it's always good to have a few different, not have all your eggs in one basket. But yeah, at the moment, mate, yeah, I've just got the... just these at the moment, nothing else. I did have I don't know, was it a month ago? My funded futures. But yeah, that's all I got at the moment. So same again, we're hitting this line. We've pushed up now and hit that measured move right to the tick. So I'd at least expect a pullback of sorts. Not only that, we've hit the top of this channel 3 times now, so you'd expect a pullback. So I'm glad my patience has come back today. I have felt a bit impatient lately for some reason. Trouble is, sometimes when you get a payment, it's very easy to take your foot off the pedal and relax a bit too much. The thing is about trading, unlike many other jobs, you've got to be on your A game 24/7. And as soon as you step your foot off the pedal, sometimes you can get yourself into a bit of a sticky mess. Okay, we've got to get a pullback from here, certainly. Measured move, and 3 times we've hit that. So, be interested to see how far back this goes and whether it continues on up. Tony, you made me laugh the other day when you said, I don't know what's going on at the moment, so I'm staying out 2 seconds later. You didn't market order. So, yeah, you are correct. Yes. Sometimes I need to listen to my own voice, I think. Yeah, I'm guilty of that. Yeah, for sure. Sometimes it's the trouble is with sort of trading the way I do, it's quite fast moving, and when you're doing something that requires fast thinking, it's very easy to swap and change your mind around, and sometimes something doesn't feel great and all of a sudden things will change. But Yeah, the trouble with this as well, it kind of doesn't feel, if you're a bit of an obsessive compulsive, this doesn't feel, scalping kind of feels like a bit unprofessional. You know, obsessive compulsive people like order, and sometimes with, not that I am excessive compulsive, but you know, they like order and they don't like to make impulsive decisions. They like to plan things. They like to see things through. They like it clean, not messy. But with this style of trading, you know, I mean, it's slow at the moment, but at times you got to make quick decisions, and it's only really experience that makes you make better decisions. Like, so many times I used to use these buy and sell buttons. That's quite impulsive. But I would say sometimes when I use those, it's because I really like a trade and it's moved quick. So I would say 85 times out of 100 that I've hit those buy sell buttons, it's gone on to win. So I've thought maybe it's not such a bad thing to have. You know, we obviously know there are aggressive buyers and sellers in the market because you've only got to look at Bookmap. So, you know, just because someone hits a buy or sell doesn't necessarily mean they're being risky or impulsive. You know, being impulsive, sometimes it's just the quickest way to get into a trade, you know, if you believe it. So I still have it up on my chart. I did and ah whether to get rid of it. And then obviously kind of do it right click. That does give you an extra second or so to think, but I don't always use it. If I think a trade's about to happen, I'll usually get my order ready. But you know, sometimes you can reread something and think, oh, here we go, you know, this is price. Exactly. So, you know, I did and ah, should I really be trading them? But then if I think how many trades I've won, it's definitely you know, it's definitely worked in my favour. So it is something that's worth having. Sometimes, you know, things can change really quickly with price, can't they? And sometimes, you know, do you miss out or do you go in? But what I will say is, if I do go in with these, the risk is often more than it would be if I, you know, controlled win an unlimited order. But you know, if I was going short here, sometimes by the time you right click, open a trade and get it in, it's down here by a point or a point and a half. And sometimes, you know, if you really believe in the trade, and good trades move really well. So, you know, I still have it on. If I think at some point, you know, you monitor your trade in week by week, aren't you? Also place orders on the wealth charts. It doesn't have. Yeah, I signed up for that, but I haven't done anything about it. For me, it was a case of, do I really want to get into a new platform when I know this like the back of my hand? I trust it. I don't have to think what I'm doing here. I've been using this for that long now. But yeah, I know you got some, didn't you? You got quite a few free evaluations, didn't you? 1 to 3 free evals a year. No, that's fair enough. That's a fair comment. I didn't know. Can you still trade them on here, or do you have to trade them on there? Mind you, even if you've got to trade them on there, you never know. Might be something you can do for an hour a day if you've got to trade it on that specific platform. You know, you could do your normal trading on one on a chart like this, and so on. So let's have a look. I'm trading them on the wealth charts, and so have we found a little bit of support here? We may be. Yeah, I mean, they're free, aren't they? So yeah, I know what you mean. There's nothing you can really do here, is there? You know, you may say there's a one bounce there, a second bounce. I don't even know if I want to take a triple test here because we're coming off the highs. The activation. Oh, I see what you mean. So if you pass them, you've obviously got to pay to go on a PA, and then you've still got to trade them. on that platform, haven't you? Yeah. Mind you, it gives you a taste of it. The trouble is, if you're preaching a new platform to people, most people that are already traders already use a platform, and if you like your platform and you get on with it, why change? If something's not broke, why kind of try and fix it? I understand why people might move to Quantower, where they can trade, multiple prop firms that may be all rhythmic or something like that. That I get. I have got a Quantower on my system here. It's just, it looks so much more complicated. I like this. It's simple. Doesn't take much to learn how to use this. There's not a lot to it. It's kind of got everything you need. Uh, 10,000 tick chart. Where are we at the moment? So we've had that initial move up, and we've gone into this spike and channel. So we've come to the side, clipped that area there, pushed that. We've come back here. It's actually a second entry long, not a fantastic bar, but it did take off from there. So we're bouncing on this along the top of this at the moment. So it's not in my, I wouldn't feel natural getting into a trade here. It would have to come down to at least a midline, or at least kind of test this sort of area here, ideally a couple of legs, and then that's if it is going to push up. But we've had a break of this, 2 pushes up, so I don't know, who knows. How far away from that all-time highs? We're still a bit yet. But this hasn't moved much, has it? It is really slow. Mine is, I think it's 32 gig, bud. I actually built this one. If you've never built a computer before, I'd highly recommend it. It's not as difficult as you think. Great fun. I was even more shocked that it all actually worked, and it's worked ever since. But yeah, I had 16 and then I upgraded maybe a year ago. I think 32 is well, I don't know really. I suppose if everything works perfectly fine. What have I got? What is my machine? It's a Ryzen 7 3800X, I think. So it's still quite a quick machine, I think. But what I did when I built it, because obviously you save a bit of money, I just made sure I bought good quality parts. So, I bought good branded stuff. But great fun to build one. Yeah, there's so much stuff on YouTube now showing you how to do it. It's not difficult. It's kind of like a jigsaw, really. You plug it all together. But some bits of some bits of hardware are only compatible with. But the good thing is on Amazon, if you go onto Amazon and you say pick a Ryzen AMD chip, it'll usually give you suggestions of things to buy it, so it kind of knows what works. But if you choose AMD or Intel, AMD seem to be a bit cheaper than Intel, but they reckon, I heard a lot about the Ryzen chips, so they were really good. Yeah, well, I mean, I get that. You can still plug, monitors into laptops. With a laptop, obviously, you got that, the ability to be more mobile. So if I trade in a spare room upstairs, and sometimes if I had a laptop, you may go downstairs. So it's got that benefit. I'd like to have both. Maybe later in the year, I might pick up a laptop to make me. What did it cost me? Well, I built it about 3 years ago, and I think it cost me about £700 3 years ago. And when I looked on Amazon at the same spec, they were about £400 to £500 more. And also, I bought one when graphics cards were a lot more expensive. Obviously, we had kind of high interest rates, and the price of electric went through the roof, didn't it? So people stopped mining, so graphics cards came down a lot. But I think it was about £750 to £800, I think, at the time. it was kind of quite a modern chip. It's still not out of date. The Ryzen 3000X, still a quick chip. But I got good quality parts, and it worked out £400 to £500 cheaper than if I bought it. And there's loads of stuff on YouTube nowadays to show you how to do it all. But yeah, you just buy the part. It's not a lot really. I mean, you buy your motherboard, you buy your chip. My chip came with a fan which went on top of it. You buy your RAM, you buy your hard drive. I bought one of those mini hard drives, EM2 or whatever it is, very little flat stick. I got a graphics card, and then you get your power. And graphics card, really, it comes with all your power leads and a bit of a diagram, and Pro Glass released in 1985. Yeah, X-Real. Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff out there, but it was a bit of a challenge for me. I'd never done it before, so I fancied having a go. There was a few bits that I wanted that I couldn't get. You know, a lot of them are aimed at gamers. Well, at the time, and still now to a degree, we don't need, nothing too expensive when it comes to graphics cards. I got a very basic graphics card. I think it was something like a GT 710. Great for one chart, but when I started streaming and I opened two charts, it started freezing up a bit. So I bought I think it was a 2060. An NVIDIA 2060, which was about 300 at the time, and I upgraded it, and then everything run nice and smooth. Then I can run 4 monitors. I got 4 monitors off mine, and that's as much as I can use on mine, but they all run seamlessly. I have no issues. But it's good fun. I mean, I just sat on I got all the parts out. I'd watched a few videos, got the instructions out, had a couple of glasses of single malt and a screwdriver in my hand, and away I went. Took me about maybe 3 hours all in all, double checking it. I'd already downloaded a boot drive on a little thumb drive, and everything worked. I'm not the best DIYer in the world, but I plugged it all in and put all the software on. It worked seamlessly ever since. I was quite shocked, actually. But it was great fun. Good fun to do. I've always liked building stuff rather than making it. To get more satisfaction out of building stuff. In fact, I've even taken up. In fact, my wife bought me some. I was finding trading stressful about a year ago. So I was browsing YouTube one night and I saw this Chinese guy making some Oxford Brogues shoes from scratch. He'd get the leather, he'd draw out his patterns, he'd hand stitch it all. And I started watching that. I found it really relaxing. And I started then watching a guy making stuff out of leather, wallets and stuff like that. And my wife bought me kind of a leather craft kit for the Christmas before last, and bought me some leather, and I made a couple of wallets and stuff. I kind of find that relaxing. Nice getting out with your pattern and then marking it out, cutting it with your knife, using punching and stitching it. I've been doing that a bit lately, and you need some sort of hobby when you're a trader, something to chill you out a little bit, and I've been doing quite a bit of that lately. Nothing like the smell of leather. So channel down with a break. I'd expect a couple of legs down here at least. So channel break, I definitely expect it to test this line. I would have said though, second entry short ear. I wouldn't really want to take a short ear at the moment because we're overall up, but I think a second entry short ear would come and break these lows. Yeah, see, Marco's got this as a small break. of the channel. I've been going for 3 hours, so I'm locked out at 6 o'clock, which is about another half an hour, so I might do another 10 minutes. It's not been the easiest day today. The trouble is, when it's doing like this, it's hard to know what to do. There was a possibility of a wider channel. There's a possibility of a break already, so, and then you kind of push up. There's nothing here. I got into a trade here but got out, rightly so. It would have worked, or it certainly got up to make a new high, but then I was very tempted by that second entry short there. I like the fact that we were lightly trapping traders, and it did work, but I left it at the time. That one would have worked, and then we've had this. There's just no way in, really. There is a second entry long there. I don't like it because we're so close to these highs. Although that would have worked. And then, I don't know, there may be an overshoot. We've actually had this measured leg, see, so I'd expect a bit of a correction here, or certainly to come down a bit lower, maybe to here, maybe 1, 2, triple test to push up again. But after we've had this, I'm just not massively finding going long here attractive. So my gut feeling is this is going to come down to this line. Second entry short. Just purely because this measured leg. I'd like a decent sized correction. It's definitely going a bit sideways here, so I mean, there's always that possibility we've got a channel with a break and it's finding the scenic route to go higher. I wouldn't be shocked if we had a leg and a leg here at all, but my gut feeling is this is going to come down here and retest this line, if not break below. We got a channel down, one attempt to go higher, second attempt to go. I'd like to see this fail and at least come down here, preferably break below it and give us a decent size correction. So I'll be looking for a second entry short. I won't be taking one because the overall is up. But this is starting to look a little better. We pull down, one attempt, second attempt. There's going to be longs there. There's going to be longs there. I wouldn't take trades here because it's sideways, so I'd at least expect areas like this to get retested. Now that is a second entry short, but the trouble here is the overall trend is up, so I don't feel right taking a short. But based on that, based on oh, I got this one. We've had a break of it. It's hard to say, or an overshoot. I don't know. Let's see how big the bar is. Yeah, possible second entry short and a failure. But the overall is up. So I don't want to do that, to be honest with you. It's barely a couple of points, but yeah, the overall move is up. So I don't really want to be taking shorts. Can't try. No, exactly. It's going sideways, isn't it? No, my gut feeling, it's going to break above this bar here and then come down, whether it'll do or not. But we are finding a bit of support there. We're coming off the highs, coming off the measured move. So I'd like to see a leg down, a couple of legs up, followed by a leg down, i.e. a correction. This just doesn't look enough buyers in here to push this higher. I'd say if there's buyers, they're more likely to be below this area here. But you just don't know what it's going to do to you. It's not the easiest of days today. There's not been a lot of entries. It has been a little bit, although we can see we're going up, there's just not been a lot of setups really. That trade I took there, I think, as a kind of a triple test with shorts trap, did eventually work, but not before 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Another 5 or 6 bars sideways where it eventually went up. Second entry short. I was very tempted by that. I liked it. My gut feeling is this was going to come down, and it did. Having said that, it is a little bit congested here. But, you know, I was reading it right, which is more important than taking the trade. Yeah, I still want this to drop below. This is struggling to get up, so for me, this is going to come down to at least the lows. I'd like to see a leg down, 2 attempts to push higher, and a second leg down. So that's what I want to see. And the fact that we look like we're struggling, my gut is telling me it's more likely going to come down than up. Okay, that failure's triggered now on the other chart, so I'm not taking it. Try go once, try go twice. Second entry short. It has triggered. But the overall is up. So for that reason, I wouldn't take it anyway, regardless of the fact that it's clearly congested there anyway. But my gut feeling is this is more likely going to come below there and below there as well, because it's clearly struggling to get up. Whether this is an overshoot, but we had that measured move, so leg down, 2 attempts to go up and then down, break below here, I'd say, but certainly 2 legs back. Wow, the US has massively halted arms shipments to the Ukraine. Interesting. Do you copy trail your accounts? Yes, I do, Sam. Yeah, Replicanto I use, bud. That's them there. So I have my main account copying the 4 more. So I've got 5 on the go at the moment. You can't beat this. It works so seamlessly. Doesn't move well. It works so seamlessly well. I'm pretty sure Chat GPT could guide you through blindfolded. I've heard of that Chat GPT before. Is it some kind of AI? I hear a lot about AI, but I don't know too much about it. I've not tried it. I know you see AI apps and all this sort of stuff, but I haven't. I haven't tried anything or looked into it at all. Have any problems with it? Nope. I've had it now for about 1.5 years, I'd say, and I've had no issues with it. It's a great bit of software. It's the best out there that I've heard. I've never heard anybody say anything bad about it. Yeah, there's just no issues with it. We get regular updates, so I like it. You're welcome, mate. If you do buy it, I have got a code there. Gets you 20% off. Gives me a little bit of commission. You don't have to, but it's there if you want it. UKFT Capitals 20. If you ever do get around to it. But yeah, no issues with it. So this is doing what I thought. Channel down, 2 attempts to push higher. So my gut is it's going to drop below there. Ideally, a correction. No worries, mate. No worries. So it was a failure on here. So we got a channel, 1 attempt to push higher, 2nd attempt to push higher. There's going to be longs trap there. It's actually broke below there now. So my guess is leg and a leg, which will take out that low there. But as we're at the top of the channel, well, it's actually a bit like that. I've got it. And not that, we had a measured move right to the nearest tick, so I'd like at least a decent sized correction before we even figure out whether this thing is going to go higher. Okay, so we're getting this move now. We're not far away, actually. We're a couple of ticks off that bottom now. It's got to go for me, that has. So a leg back, 2 attempts to push higher, bearish bar, trapping the higher low. and a decent sized correction. Once it breaks below there, it clears anything off. It could go higher then. I'd still like to get it. I mean, it may work off that midline, but I don't know whether I'd want to take that. You could say 1, 2, 3 triple test, but we've had that measured move made right to the tick. So I got to give it a bit of space there, really. So I have got about 15 more minutes. Okay, so we haven't quite hit that bullish buy yet off the bottom. It's going to go a little bit lower. Bounce, bounce, bounce. I mean, you may say triple test, leg and a leg. I wouldn't want to take it at the moment. If it was along the bottom here in connection with that line, it may interest me, but it could trigger and come down. We've had this push down. We've had a couple of attempts to go higher, and it couldn't handle it, and it's dropping down. So for me, it's going to get close to that measured leg. And I still expect it to break below there and quite possibly there. So going long here just doesn't feel right to me. So this is what I mean. It's ticked above it. I'd like to see that measured leg and a better entry, really. So I'd like to see this break below here and possibly here as well, giving us that measured move. But it is, it's bounced there. Maybe that might think, but for me, I wouldn't want to go long there. It's kind of floating in between the bottom and the midline there, so it's a bit risky, that is. You could say a triple test. I'm not ready to go long yet. Okay, so it has triggered. I mean, you could call it a triple test. It may work. But with this move down and these two attempts to push higher and then it dropped below the EMA is telling me it needs to clear out some of this or get a deeper correction. It may work. It kind of is a triple test, but it's just something telling me to stay out of it. It's definitely slow, isn't it? See, I wouldn't go short into that, although my gut feeling is telling me it's going to break below then. If it does, it's going to get close to this measured move. It almost looks like a head and shoulders. We've got a shoulder, a head, a shoulder, which is a bearish pattern. So I'm just going to let this move play out, and then I'm going to be done for the day, I reckon. You send me a Tony. So. Oh, I see what you meant. No, or search and discover with AI. Oh, interesting. Use this alternative to Google search. Oh, I'll have a look at that later, mate. Definitely. Cheers for that, buddy. I will 100% let you know what that's like tomorrow. You obviously hear about AI. Kind of know what it is, but you don't know how it's going to fit into your life. Obviously, it's the way the whole thing's going to go in the end, isn't it? I will have a look at that later. I was talking to someone about it. We're talking about it on here. Somebody mentioned that chat GBT or GTB, whatever it is. I can't remember what we were talking about, setting a business plan, and someone said that'll help you. Don't you tell it what you want to do and it kind of does it in what it believes is. I can't remember what we're talking about now, but we had a bit of a discussion about it because I'm still kind of new to it and I haven't really used it. But I did download that chat GPT and I can't remember what I did in the end. Something didn't work, or I couldn't get something to work, or I didn't understand something. So you do what you do and you kind of leave it. It's getting slow now, isn't it? It's clearly sideways anyway, so it's too dangerous to trade here, really, isn't it? I mean, you may go high or low here, but we've already had this channel down and we've already pushed up twice. So I still believe this is going to come down below there. It's got to clear this out, really. This price at the moment is kind of floating in the top part of this chart, and I think it needs to get a little bit of interest again. And I think if you're going to buy here, for me, buying here is a no-no. It's got to be down here after a couple of legs, ideally maybe somewhere down here, or at least give it a little bit of a time. But this, to me, it's struggling to get up, and when it struggles, and you know what I find, the slower it goes up, the quicker it comes down. So once that's gone, and here, then you can sort of reevaluate them. You can use Replicanto on a 5-day free trial. Yeah, I believe you can. Yeah, I believe you can. It's actually really simple to use, and what I like about it is you can do exact quantity, or you can do pre-allocated. And you could have, say, like trade your main accounts with 2 contracts and your evaluations with 5 or 10 contracts or whatever you want. So, you know, it's got that option. And also, I've got on ES, I can add NQ. So if you trade NQ as well, you can have 2 of these windows open, one trading that, one trading that. So it's a great bit of software. I wouldn't be without it. Absolutely not. It's the one bit of software that I've been using for 18 months that hasn't given me the headache. God, this is so slow, isn't it? Yeah, I believe it has. And I think Quantau has as well, doesn't it? It will speed up. Yeah, it's probably why it's a bit slow, isn't it? Quantau as well, I believe, or whether you don't need one in there, I think you can do multiple. The trouble is, I've been using NinjaTrader now for a little over 3.5 years, and I kind of know it. I know it really well. And moving over to, you know, I like the fact that I can use bit software. Not only that, I use Guardian Angel Trader. As far as I know, it's only available for NinjaTrader. So the add-ons that I've got that work well with NinjaTrader, I really like. And hence no reason to move on. Yes, there is a triple tester. You could say it's tested this line, so it may work. But when it goes sideways here, it's just too risky. I still think channel down, 2 attempts to push over. We're going to have 2 legs down. It's got to clear out this area first before it can go anywhere else. Certainly up anymore. Nutty has some pretty good indicators. Yeah, I like Nutty. He's a nice guy. Yeah. He's got all sorts of stuff going on. He's a nice bloke, Nutty, as I like him. He's quite a funny guy as well, isn't he? I have a little chat with him, every few days or so. How's Alpine done today? He got battered yesterday, didn't he? I know he was down. I think his accounts were down $800,000 odd yesterday. Really down to it. He is down to earth, yeah. He's nice, actually. Lester, his name is, isn't it? He's a nice guy, Nutty is, yeah. I chat with him quite a bit. I've tried talking to but he's not very forthcoming. Alpine doesn't. I don't know. Is he anti-British or something? He just doesn't seem to. I've tried striking up a bit of a conversation with him, and any kind of. He doesn't talk much. Whether it's just him or whether it's me or. Then neither of them on today, are they? Okay. So it has broke below there. And it is breaking below this other one that I needed there. Anti-British. Well, I don't know. He talked to other birds. He won't seem to talk to me for some reason. I don't know why. So that's taken out, which tells me channel down, 2 attempts to push up, leg and leg. I need this area clearing, really. And close to this. If you get below there, it may. But no, he's not very forthcoming with me. I tried chatting to him before. But Travis, I've chatted with him a bit. Trades with Travis. He's a friendly enough guy. And Volatile Trader as well. He's a nice guy. I've chatted with him. He's come on the stream once or twice. And Nutty has. But yeah, he makes me laugh, Nutty. He's a funny guy. He's naturally comical. Okay, we need to get below there, really. Couple of legs back. I'm guessing there's likely going to be buyers there, which means stops there. Channel down, 2 attempts to push higher, leg and a leg, cleaning out this area, getting closest measured move. Buyers are going to be down here, really. If there is any. Fits for sure he does, because his actual name's Lester, isn't it? Lester, yeah. Okay, some buy-in there. I still think this isn't finished coming down yet. Actually, Alpine was on earlier, but he had another red day. Worse. Oh, did he really? It's got to be a bit of a shock for him not being able to trade the way he used to without a stop, because he made an absolute ton of money. I think, did he make something like $360,000 in the first 4 or 5 months? He was trading without a stop. I mean, he was good at his strategy. The only trouble is if you trade without a stop and you're prepared to lose the account, you get it wrong once and you're kind of blown it. You can't trade like that in the real world. You couldn't put your own money in there. And he was obviously doing it with Apex, so it was a strategy that worked with Apex at the time. In fact, I think it was him that kind of spurred them on to stopping it. So he did say quite a few times he didn't want to tell people what he did because he was worried Apex were going to stop him. Well, just by that very comment, that I wouldn't have said another word, because and the trouble is everyone was talking about him. He's making this much money, and then what's her name came forward and says she thinks she's debunked his strategy, and there was a bunch of other traders. below there now. There was a bunch of other traders trying to do what he did, and obviously word spread. And he's, when we had that chat with Apex that time, they came forward and said this guy was making money, and all of a sudden there was big payouts, and they realised they kind of didn't say it was him, but where they were talking about it, it clearly was. So what he should have done really was making that money. He shut his stream down temporarily, milked it for everything he could, because he went out and bought that new Porsche, didn't he, with all that money, and then all of a sudden it all got cut off. So now he's kind of trading. Well, he can't trade that way anymore, which is a shame, because he was making such a ton of money. I'd have shut the stream temporarily if he was worried about Apex finding out, and just made as much money out as possible. I mean, it was Apex's fault. They allowed him to do it. You can't blame him. So that area has got cleaned out. I'd still like that push a little bit lower towards that measured move. There is a couple of bits there that they may have put stops below. I think we've just broke it now. You're not. No, I'd just like to come that a little bit lower. No, not yet. We've got to have a quick flush down, I think. So I can't trade now, I don't believe. So let's just see if I can open an order. I don't believe I can. So if I right click, buy limit order, no. Right, okay. This is showing you there's an order. If I right click, cancel all orders, it still stays there. So if you look here, you can see there's no, it did push down the measurement. There's no live orders here. It's just showing in. I can't get rid of it. So if I disconnect and then connect, it'll disappear. So if you've got that shows up on the orders or positions, just disconnect and reconnect and it'll disappear. I've got no live trades out. You can see my P&L's not moving and all these are greyed out. And the reason it didn't let me do that is because I can't trade from 6 o'clock onwards. Okay, so we are now reconnected. So, yeah, it's disappeared. So you aren't looking at order. They are positions in our trader. Yeah, they're positions. What I'm saying is, though, although I opened up a position, even though I closed it and cancelled it, it didn't get rid of it. And it doesn't for some reason. So, but if I right click, it shouldn't let me. Yeah. Yeah, so it's in orders. So if I right click in orders and cancel all orders, it won't cancel it for some reason. It's still showing. But you can see there's no live orders there. So if you just disconnect and reconnect, I don't know why it doesn't work. So measured move played out right to the tick, cleared out all this area, and it had to really, because it was clearly struggling to get up, so we got to get a bit of a correction. So whatever your positions and orders tab says, whatever they say in Ninja Trader, this is what's important. In your rhythmic, that's if you're using rhythmic, that is. Yeah, I mean, if I'd have opened a trade and closed the trade, sometimes it still shows in your positions and it doesn't close in your positions. Which is this one? Wrong one. So it's disappeared. Yeah, it won't let you shut it for some reason. I don't know why. So I am done for the day. It won't let me buy or sell. Usually these are grayed out. But I've hit my 6 o'clock cut-off time, so 3.5 hours. So I'm done for the day anyway. So I will leave you guys to it. So not the easiest of days today. But once that measured move's played out and we're getting to the top, it's got to have a decent pullback really before anything can move higher. So no trades for me today. I did get in but got out for a tick. It just wasn't worth it. So you need to check the box tab as well as you may have a limit order. Yeah. If you've got anything showing in your orders or positions tabs after the trades come in. Sometimes the trades will close and you'll still see one. I can't think either in orders or positions. It won't let you close it down, but it's not live. As long as all these are greyed out, it doesn't matter what Ninja Trader's doing. What matters is that they're closing rhythmic, because that's connected to Apex. That's obviously if you're using rhythmic and Apex, but for some reason it does that sometimes. Next time it happens in a trade, I'll bring it and show you. And you can't right click it or close it. It don't work. So, it's a pretty standard looking day today, just not with a lot of entries. We clearly just had a spike and a channel. It's clearly working up, unfortunately. There's just not really a load of entries. If you took that bounce there, break new high, channel break new high, there's just no entry in there, and then we're kind of going sideways. I did take a trade here. Eventually it worked up for a new high, but it started stagnating a little bit. Same again, a lot of chop. Not a lot. There's kind of two legs back there. You may have taken that, but it was too early. That was pre-market really. So be interesting to see where this continues up. So we're not a million miles from all-time highs. So I'm done for the day, folks. So it is Wednesday, isn't it? So Thursday tomorrow. So I'll be back tomorrow. So if you're carrying on trading, best of luck. I hope you get something. Same here, no-go trades today, just sitting on hands. Yeah, it's a good exercise in patience, mate. I actually get kind of a kick out of sitting through all this and not taking stuff. Although I did get in, which would have worked, but I took the safe option and got out of it, which was fine with me. You too, Daryl. But yeah, best of luck, guys. Hope you get something. Failing that, have a great evening. Stay safe. Catch up again tomorrow. Bye for now.